Get 'em Jimmy, where low shack at. The bottles getting nifty up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated public sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, September 16th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Our final show without Jose producing, and goddamn, do I miss him. He does excellent work here. He works tirelessly to help make me look good, and I miss him. But tonight, alongside Nasty Nate, hopefully Seamus Ignoramus, he's going to be watching the Red Sox beat the Royals, although a lot of sharp money on the Royals. We'll talk about that shortly. Thank you guys for supporting our Thursday night live stream last night, hosted by Dutch Boy Fresh. And I would fire Staley this morning if I was the owner. The most important part of our organization, the most important, most valuable piece of our organization gets hurt, and you're down by 10 points, and you keep him in there. Well, you're fired. That's what I do. I'd fucking fire you. Now, look, for the Chargers backers and the Sharps who are on the Chargers, they got paid out because of it, and so that's great. I made... I almost said $181.82, but no, I made $200 because I was the book in my dad's bet on the Chiefs. But he shouldn't have been out there. What was he doing out there? What kind of... it's as if a child is coaching your team. It's just very irresponsible. And I would come down this morning and I'd slap the coffee out of Staley's hand. I'd pull out a sharpened chopstick. I'd slit his throat just a little bit right here. Not quite his throat, but his neck. And not that he'd die, but just so he could bleed out a little bit while I told him that he was fired. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. By the way, the Chargers could be the most talented team in the NFL. Most balanced, talented team in the NFL. To do all that without Keenan Allen. How good did Asante Samuels Jr. look? God, his dad must be so proud. A Viper MB in the house. Florida State University first half -1, full game -2.5. Seems public on it, so it's square. But I have to do it, says Viper MB. We will talk about that. It's great that we've already had the breakdown with Big Ragu, and now we'll get the breakdown with Bobano. So I'm going to copy and paste that right now. I'm looking forward to talk football. The main thing is we got to step up in CFL. We're both negative units. Bobano's hit a season low here. And I know he's going to get hot down the stretch. So we need to step up. Eric Nisbet said, try to tell you all Chargers under 54. I'm upset that I didn't move on the first half under. I came so close. And Alex Pavone was saying, go bet it. Bet it. He's like, life's short. Bet it. And I still didn't. Under 57 for FSU Louisville for Eric Nisbet. I like it, Eric. There's my guy Osby in the house. NJ Striker. Oh, there's Jose Bouquet. There he is right there. There he is. Come back to us, Jose. I need you. UTSA spread, UTSA money line. Officially say hey plays. Says Road Runners shock the world again. Again. We're talking about this year, Jose. There's been no shocking. Just heartbreak. But, oh, man, Jose was at a bar that last night, and he showed me a picture of it and is looking out at the Fenway all lit up. Man, I would sit there for hours. Just give me an edible. And let me just sit there and don't talk to me. And let me sit there and drink. Well, the server can talk to me. All right, UTSA official picks here for Jose Zenyatta, Lamb Chop, One Hole Bouquet. Get that set up for him. Ryan Mueller there. Dennis Garcia says, started the day off right by fading Jeannie Bouchard. Who knew she still played tennis? She looks good to me. Bo Jackson ready to go. Fap win, but maybe not. Maybe your tennis skills aren't up to snuff, but everything else looks pretty good. Fap win in the house, unleashing a load on San Diego team total over 4.5. Fap win, and his vat of lube. Gonna copy and paste that. Fap. Brooklyn Funk Project, my man Pete in the house. Pete, thanks for being in the Cappers contest. By the way, you guys, just a reminder, the Cappers contest now, picks have to be in by Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Picks have to be in. We want to be able to talk about them on Sunday. We want to be able to look at people's picks. So please remember, picks have to be in by Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern. TJ said sneaks in by a taint hair, the gift. Yeah, I did not think your gift was going to cash, but it did. And I should have been on the Marlins. Great call by Razor Sharp Picks. Razor Sharp Picks Gambler's first glance goes 2-0 here on the show yesterday. He was on the Chargers and the Marlins. Very good work. North Ender says yesterday, all dogs and under 3-0 in NFL. I love it. 2-0 in MLB. I love it. North Ender, great job. Mr. Vape, ready to go. And Brooklyn Funk Project said, hammer those live Kansas City numbers last night. Look, they were the second best team on the field in my estimation, but we can talk more about that as they get to meet again and possibly in the playoffs. Big Daddy Boom in the house says backdoored it, but it happens in the NFL. There's Matty Ice, R2D2 Finland. Rocking my Joey Spencer shirt. Perfect timing, R2D2 Finland. R2D2's nephew right here. Undefeated. Lightweight from Linden, Michigan. The small town soldier. Ron Crawford, NHL spreadsheet play today, 4 in a row. Attaboy, Ron. I love it. He is on the Yankees. Let's make sure that is ready to go so we can discuss. Where is the Yankees game? Let me make sure it's right set so we can break it down. 8:10 p.m. Eastern, Yankees-Brewers. Ethan Payson ready to go. Christopher Comatini said jumped on Kansas City money line when they were down. Nice job. There he is, right there. Our razor sharp picks. Oh, shit, I'm way behind in the comments. I got to speed this up. Nice 3-in-1 day plus 400 yesterday. 6-1 start to the NFL. I love it. I love it. You know, that means that you are the exact same as me. I'm 6. You're 6-1. I'm 24-4. It's identical. Let's keep that shit rolling in, my man. Mr. Jive Man in the house. Great to see you. Andrew G. And spreadsheet play today, the Elks. Wow. I find that very interesting. We'll give Bobano and I great fodder for that game. Pop that right here. We are going to start with CFL. We should get after it right away. Saturated says, whose idea was it to get in front of McClanahan yesterday? You know, it's you can succeed fading pitchers off of an IL stint. The issue is Gaussman at home. Okay. I have see, Jose still. I don't know if I can fix it, Jose. I don't know if I can fix it. He's trying to help me fix something. I don't know if I can. It's a lot of hard work without you. You being gone for a week has made me realize I'll be very thankful when you're back. R2D2 Finland, quick hockey tips. Finish league Jerkerit to win at plus 105 or plus 110. Starts in 25 minutes. Let me lock that in for you. All right. You know, all right. I'm not okay. Oh, there it is. There it is. There's a little action from our R2D2 Finland. Look at that $445 parlay. Chargers plus 4 and under 54 paid $11.57. Attaboy. And there's Dommy Gun Ricci. Another good night. Phillies over 7.5. Mets 2 units with Cookie over 5.5 Ks. That's 129. Chargers plus 4. Chargers under 54. Eckler over 39.5 receiving yards. Lost on the Guardians plus 133. And Palmer over 4.5 receptions. He had 4, of course. Great job, though. Great job. Saturated says the background's giving me vertigo. You know, this is the Superbook. Is it bothering anybody else? I can change it. See, Matty Ice says your backdrop makes me very happy. Tell me if you guys want me to change it. This is come on. Who doesn't want to be sitting behind me right now? Dan Kelly says, Jimmy misses Jose. When Jose gets back, it won't be 5 minutes until JTB is giving Jose grief again. Come on, we stopped. Look, he's a winning capper and I do know. Polish Hockey League. We got more action here. Polish Hockey League action. And I have no idea where it is. So I'm not going to be able to pop it up. God damn. This is hard. It's just... Okay. I'm going to let go. But please go through the chat and find the Polish Hockey League action from my man R2D2 Finland. Saturated says, feeling like I'm drunk about to fall off a balcony. I apologize for that. Thank you, Osby. Anytime that my dad sends me action that's public action, I'm not going to send it in. And has he ever sent me sharp action before? Okay. Should know. North Anderson, Vegas made the call. Keep him in. Billy Friedrich says Staley's a terrible coach. He showed this last season. Oh, man. And Dan Kelly says it was good for live over bettors. It sure was. I thought about that when I was watching. Okay. We got to get rolling. Thank you guys all so much for rolling with us. Smith Legacy, Herbert showed some grit last night. Team going to ride out for him. Yeah, but there was no need for that. This early in the season. It was BJ's on Florida State moneyline, Mets moneyline, 2-team parlay. Going to copy and paste that. Andrew G says, yeah, CFL, Jim, it's getting hard. It's not. It's no harder than it's ever been. You know, Bobano and I will heat up. I'm telling you that. It's not getting hard. It's not doing anything it doesn't always do. We're just not hitting at the level that we usually do, and we will change that. All right, Geomatics says, can't believe that backdoor last night. It was a wild, wild game. There's Nut Flush. Allen says, we are a few games away from cashing multiple tickets on the season win total San Francisco. And he has some gold this weekend. I love it. North Ender said, Jimmy, the line dropped by 1.5 points before the game. I saw it. I saw it. The 26.5 went to 26, and I should have. Ray Charles says, Derwin James definitely checked Kelsey. Killed my prop bet. Hats off to Derwin. And Billy Freddie said, White Sox start was a great way to start the betting day. Finished up 3 units, but KC player props killed a great day. Christopher Comentini says, I heard UTSA missing some linemen. Dominic Enrique says, my girl said, don't listen to Jimmy. Jose, she's proud you went whale watching. You know, look, hey, we love Helga. It's best part of Jose, you know. And look, she's a gamer. She's going to all these games at Fenway with them. She's allowed to have a day, right? What? It's a 5 or 6 day trip. She can have an afternoon, right? That's fair, isn't it? But Jose Buquette says, I made my picks today. Did you? Okay. Billy Frederick says, I love the background. Feels like we are the eye in the sky. Okay, let's get to work. I'd love to give you all a shout out individually and just sit here and hang with you guys because I'm just so excited. I'm so excited about everything that we're doing here as a group here. I just, it's just feels like the winning now. What are we in 7 or 8 months of winning? And it's not. It's happening for a reason. We've earned this, and we're earning this, and I'm just so excited. I barely slept last night. The kids are sick again. The first week of school shit. So, but I don't need sleep when we're making money. Danny Lopez says, morning fam listening from my company's picnic in a state that doesn't allow sports betting. Oh, Danny Lopez. Oh no. Okay, Dennis Garcia did get in on the Poland action. All right, let's get to work. Let's bring on the star of our Friday shows here from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada's black and yellow. Please welcome to the show, the great Bobano. Oh, let me fix this over here and move it. Bobano, how are you, my man?
Thank you. Cheers and a salute this morning to Justin Herbert and the absolute guts he showed last night to get me through the back door last night with those Chargers. If you want to know why we're off to a crazy, insane start to the NFL season, it's wins like that you don't think you're going to get, and you end up getting them.
Yeah, it was he should not have been in there. In there, and
And they let him finish the drive when you could tell before the 4th and 1 play, which was right outside the Kansas City 40, and they were running that 4th and 1 play, and you could tell he's in obvious pain. I thought, okay, they're going to take him out now. And they still didn't take him out, and he finished the drive and put it in the end zone. Wow.
Yeah.
Better be thankful he didn't get hit again. But Haley said after the press conference, it's nothing serious. They expect him to be fine and play next week, but still, you could tell he was in obvious pain.
Staley better be right.
Yeah.
Because he's risking the most valuable part of the entire franchise.
No.
But
risking a lot of futures bets of mine with the Chargers in the process.
Yes, and I only made future bets on 2 teams, and they were one of them. So I've got division, conference, Super Bowl, and that just gave me a ton of confidence watching them. I think they're the better football team out there, but injuries will play a part. Razor Sharp Pick says I almost broke my TV when he didn't run for that first down. That was wild when he didn't run for that first down. But look, he showed out in the end. All right. Billy Friedrich says if it was nothing serious, then Herbert is a drama queen or Staley is a liar. I think that's right.
Uh-huh.
Osby says Hurricanes futures bet, Jimmy. I can't wait. I guess Bobano and I should probably do a future show in NHL. But I wasn't on the Hurricanes last year, and it was hard not to be on them, and they're better this year.
It's funny. Someone's got me doing these team preview videos every day this month for the NHL. So I'm ready for the season mode. Like if the season started tomorrow, I'd be ready for it. Like I've got opinions on all these teams, so I'm ready for some hockey, no doubt.
And that's not someone. That's our friend of the show. That's Terry.
That's right. I should have known. Yeah, Terry watches this show. I forget that sometimes.
Yeah, he's a friend of the show. He's a great capper, and we'd love to give him a shout out here on the show. And check out Terry. It's called, what is it? Wild and Out? What is it?
Getting Wild. Yeah, Getting Wild with Terry and Friends. It's called that Getting Wild because he's a huge Minnesota Wild fan.
Support it. Support Terry. He's a great guy and a friend of the show. All right. Bobano, let's get to work right now. We got to be quick here through football because we have a giant MLB card, and my setup here is bad. And so I become in pain in about 30 minutes of sitting like this. So it's really, I miss my old studio so badly. I miss it with
the 2 rows of hats. I do. I got to admit, that was a good background there.
Yeah, it'll be back here. We're going to get it back going again. It's so much to be done here. When you move from one house to another house, it's pretty easy. You got all the stuff. But we moved from a fucking tiny apartment in Parkdale to here, and it's a pain in the pussalia. Let's get to work here. 9:30 p.m. Eastern, Friday, September 16th. Bobano, we got to pick up our CFL here on the show. Everything else is rolling nice, not our CFL action. And I would like to change that as soon as possible. Let's get to work here. Spreadsheet play today is already in from Ron Crawford. It is the Edmonton Elks. 3-10, 3-4 on the road at Saskatchewan. Roughriders 6-7, 3-4 at home. There's my guy Nilo in the house. Yes, the sound. I have all of we ordered the sound studio foam. So hopefully that will be up by Tuesday, and then we're gonna paint on Friday. We have plans. So 58 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 8 miles per hour. It's football weather in the prairies. Mosaic Stadium in Regina, Saskatchewan. Both teams coming off beatdowns. Elks coming off the 58-26 loss at home to the Stamps on Saturday. They've already lost badly to the Riders twice this season, both at Commonwealth Stadium in weeks 2 and 8. They've been so much better on the road this year. They've 5-1 against the spread in their last 6. I believe Taylor Cornelius has a bright future in 3-down football. I've been very impressed with his mobility. The last 2 games with his arm, he's been good. Just under 70% of his passes, 549 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. And that's without Kenny Lawler or Emmanuel Arsenault or James Wilder helping. Lawler and Emmanuel Arsenault with the arm. It's Darrell Walker all of a sudden. Kevin Brown, Dylan Mitchell, other guys coming up. It's this Elks defense that Chris Jones has not figured out. He has to get this. The changeover's been immense. They allow 34.1 points per game. They're worse than the league against both the run and the pass. And you have a very angry Roughriders team, fresh off a 54-20 ass kicking by the league-leading Bombers in Winnipeg. That was a week after they only lost 2018 at home. And they have injury issues, especially at defensive tackle. We have Anthony Lanier Lanier with a head injury. I don't know if you have if he's going to be able to
He's
play
out.
here.
He's out, and that's significant because Marino just got cut. So you're
Yes.
talking about a situation now where you're a little bit more thin on the defensive line.
I can't wait to hear your breakdown. I'm going to pull up the line movement here, but I don't have it up right now. I'm going to pull it up. So why don't you take it away, Elks, Rough Riders?
You need your head examined if you think I'm betting a side in this game. I don't. I'm not. First of all, I'm not laying 7 with Saskatchewan. I've seen enough of the Riders to know I don't want to do that. I don't feel comfortable doing that. And it's funny because I actually took Saskatchewan the first 2 meetings this year against Edmonton. Those were in Edmonton though, and 26-16 and 34-23. To be quite honest with you, there might be some value on Saskatchewan because they were laying 7.5 in the first game in Edmonton on the road, laying 7 in the second game against Edmonton on the road. Now they're at home and they're laying the same price, -7. So you can actually make a case that there's some legit point spread value on the Riders, and you've got to believe there's focus. You've got to believe there's intensity. You've got to believe there's a pissed off mindset for the Riders after the absolute debacle last week against Winnipeg in the Banjo Bowl, 54-20. I mean, that certainly can't sit very well with anybody in that Saskatchewan locker room. You got to expect they're going to be really wanting to take it out their frustrations on somebody. And Edmonton could be a team you can take out frustrations on because we've seen when Edmonton things go south, they really go south. Last week, they got behind early, and then it just snowballed. And that's been the pattern with Edmonton. If they're out of the game by halftime, it gets worse. If they're in the game by halftime, they hang around and they make it interesting. That's been the pattern this year for the Elks. You're right about Cornelius. He's played well. The completion rate's been solid. He's moved the offense. They've put up, 23, 20, and 28 in 3 of the last 5 games. The offense isn't without hope. I've got to believe for this Saskatchewan offense, which has just been struggling, this could be the week for them to get things going a little bit. The offensive line's been at least a little bit better. Cody Fajardo's much healthier than he was weeks ago, and he's more willing to run with the football compared to a few weeks ago. So I'm not going to make it official, but I do have a small play on the over. In fact, I lean over in all 3 CFL games this week. I think there's a case you can make for points in all 3 games. As far as the side goes, though, nothing. I mean, I don't want to take Edmonton, especially when you didn't get the best of the number. This opened 9.5. It's down to 7. I can't take Edmonton now. Saskatchewan's got the potential to really go in there and beat the hell out of them if Saskatchewan brings their A game. And if there's ever a spot they're going to, it's after what we saw last week against Winnipeg, which was just a debacle from the beginning. But I don't want to lay this many with Saskatchewan, so it has me clearly easy pass.
Easy pass for Bobano. So this opened at Pinnacle at 7.5. That was on Tuesday. I did hear about the 9.5 openers, but at Pinnacle opened at 7.5. It's now at 7. And you have Ron Crawford with the spreadsheet play today. You know what? To be honest with you, after this breakdown, I would move on the Roughriders as an angry group, but I won't.
I think I'll actually, because I'm not doing anything official for this show in terms of this game, but I might put a little bit in my pocket. Saskatchewan -4 first half. Because come on, you got to think in the first half, early in this game after what happened last week, they're ready to go. And if not, that's on Craig Dickinson. But there's no way this team shouldn't be ready to play football in the first 30 minutes.
I agree with that.
And someone that I do some CFL content with pointed this out a few weeks ago. He's absolutely right. Craig Dickinson's been terrible at making halftime adjustments. We've seen many times this year his teams have a bad second half. Remember the first game against Winnipeg and Saskatchewan a couple weeks ago? They had a nice first half, and then Winnipeg comes back and wins that game. There's something to that. So I think I would rather have the Riders first half tonight.
Yeah, I get it. I just hate that both teams just got destroyed. If Ron Crawford wasn't giving the spreadsheet play today on the Elks and we see legitimate movement towards them, I would be on the Roughriders. Yep. I won't. I guess I'll stay off with you. I mean, NFL's been so hot in college football. I mean, come on. It's if you combine what NFL and NCAA football right now, 24-4 and 10-3. I mean, 34-7. But I got to turn it around in CFL. Yeah, we are Von Polo, and you know what? I'll slow the fuck down because I'm trying to make money here. So please go smoke a joint, take a breather. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and relax. That's Elks Roughriders. Let's move on to Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern. Winnipeg Blue Bombers, 12-1, 7-0 on the road at Hamilton. Tiger Cats, 3-9, 3-3 at home. We're at Tim Hortons Field, Hamilton, Ontario, 79 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 12 miles per hour is the wind. Take a look at the line movement here with your Ticats in play, and I imagine you will be here at this game.
Yeah.
You'll be right there. Come on, give me
Still supporting.
As you should be. And I'm
don't
curious
bail on
what
that.
you think of this spot. We have Winnipeg opening up as 6 point. They say 6 point. I don't believe that. Let's say I think they opened up at 8. Let's call it 8 because it said that's it. Said it changed in 2 minutes. Let's say 8-point favorites, and it's moved to 7.5. This total here opened up at 46.5 and hasn't moved. So we have got no movement there, and I can't believe it's come to this, Bobano. It's shocking. The Ticats. Touchdown, more than a touchdown dogs coming off a bye at home. Evans and Steinauer clearly taking a ton of heat in the press. They have a league worst turnover margin of minus 23. Dane Evans throwing 13 picks and 6 fumbles in 9 games. It's just also this defense, and you can talk about the injuries, but at defensive end, you have Carney, Hausar missing practice. Simone Lawrence and Evans are out, still hurt. And the Bombers just, I don't know if – I mean, they've got trouble. I can't believe they're putting up so many points. I mean, whether you have no Ellingson, and then now Wolotarski is doubtful and probably out. Talk to us about your thoughts here, Bombers, Ticats.
Yeah, this is I said weeks ago I'm not going to put money on Hamilton anytime soon, and I'm going to stick to that. But if there's ever a spot that they're going to maybe take Winnipeg by surprise, like the Ticats first half, I don't mind that. This is kind of like with Saskatchewan. If you're going to bet Hamilton, bet them first half. We know this team can't close. We know this team doesn't finish games. That's been the way all year for them. They haven't played good second halves, but maybe in the first half with Winnipeg off 2 ultra satisfying wins against their arch rival Saskatchewan, including a beatdown of the Riders last week. Maybe they're a little sleepy in the first 30 minutes. That could be the case here. But so Hamilton in the first half situationally coming off a bye, extra time to prepare at home. They need every win they can get down the stretch. Not sure they're going to get this one. Probably not. But, they need every win they can get down the stretch if they're going to try to catch Montreal. The big one is next week for them. They play in Montreal. That's the team that's got second in the East right now. That's the team they've got to catch if they're going to be in the playoffs. That's the huge game. This one, I don't know where their mindset's at because that's the game next week. That's the big one. You'd like to get this one, but you're going to be in tough. You're playing the 2-time champs that have been awesome. I do lean a little to Hamilton in the first half. I ain't betting it, but I do like this. Is probably my favorite bet on the entire card, totals wise. I like over 46.5. I think it's very reasonable. Look at this Hamilton defense. Last 5 weeks, they've been terrible. They've been bad. They've missed Simone Lawrence, the leader of that defense. They've had some D-line injuries. Julian Hauser's not going to play. He's been one of their better pass rushers this year. Deontay Evans in the secondary is still out. There's still a lot of issues with this defense coming into this game in terms of who's on the field and who's not. And it's showed up on the field that it's not been a good defense of late. 34, 27, 29, 37, 28. Those are the points they've allowed in the last 5 games. 27 plus the Ticat defense has allowed in the last 5 games. So you got to assume Zach Collaros in this offense, which is starting to really rev it up, and get it going with Dalton Schoen and Brady Oliveira starting to run the ball, and Greg Ellingson might be back this week. You got to believe they're getting into the 30s against us, even on the road. The question is, can you at least get 17 to 21 points out of Hamilton? There's your over, in my opinion. I think they can, because the one thing about Evans is he's obviously heard all the noise about how he's played so poorly. I'd expect him to play with a great effort, with maybe one of his better games, hopefully. And even if he doesn't, if it's the same Dane Evans, he's turning the ball over. Well, if he's fumbling like crazy, like he's done a lot this season, if he's throwing interceptions and pick sixes like he's done multiple games lately, well, that's going to be points for Winnipeg. And that's good news for the over as well. So, or short fields for Winnipeg. So, yeah, I think over 46.5 is a very good look in this game. Winnipeg's offense is starting to ignite. Hamilton's defense has fallen off, but their offense off a bye week, I could see some tricks, some wrinkles in the playbook, maybe throw Winnipeg's defense off whack. And Winnipeg's got some cluster injuries, Jimmy, in the secondary. for this game. No Nick Taylor, no Noah Hallett, 2 starting defensive backs out for this football game. Malik Clements at linebacker not going to play. So they've got some injuries on defense. So put it all together, 46.5, reasonable total. Weather's going to be great tomorrow. So over the total here, Bombers, Ticats.
I've got you a 46 at -115. Would you prefer that?
Yep. So we'll go with that.
All right, we have one more game, but first off, Rocco Rogers, I got your Big Rock play of the day. I love it. I've got it, Rocco. Big Rock play of the day. I like it. I like it already. So I've copied and pasted that for the Dodgers game. I'm with, there's my guy Sean Pulliam in the house. I've got Dennis Garcia saying, I think I'm going to puke, but I'll bet Hamilton. I'm going to take that a step further. I'm going to bet Hamilton first half and full game.
Wow.
And I am. This is just the perfect situation generally for me. You have a team that just dominated their rival. And now they come play a Ticats team where the coach is about to lose his job, the quarterback's going to lose his job if they don't step up here. They're coming off a bye week. We talked about the injuries to both sides of the field. I know that the Ticats have injuries, legit big injuries, but they have the bye. The Bombers have injuries on offense and defense. This is just historically when a dominant first place team comes off of destroying their rival and travels on the road to face a team that's so hungry for a win, coming off a bye. I have great success, and I'm going to not think about how bad Hamilton has been this year, and I'm going to bet Hamilton first half and full game. Bobano is on the over 46. He's thinking about the Roughriders in the under. Dennis Garcia thinking about the Roughriders in the under. Bobano on the over 46. Tiger Cats first half and full game for me. I'm moving on them. Let's go to the Saturday night game, and then we'll go into the Friday NCAA football spots. We have the BC Lions at Calgary Stampeders, McMahon Stadium, Calgary, Alberta, 63 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 5 miles per hour is the wind. And this is the final CFL game. Von Polo, the final one. We'll be fast. Okay, so the Lions open up as 6-point dogs and quickly moved to 7 and then back to 6.5. That's where they stand right now. And this total opened up at 53. It dropped to 52.5. We have two teams clearly moving in opposite directions. Stamps are rolling. They won 3 of 4. They're coming off destroying the Elks in Edmonton, but they haven't been that good at home. And I don't know exactly what to do with it. To see the Roughriders not winning in Mosaic and the Stamps not looking very good at McMahon, it's kind of tricky. Jake Mayer was very good last week. They rolled, but they're just 3-2 at home this year. That's straight up, not against the spread. 3-2 at home. And look, the Lions are floundering without Nate Rourke, losing 31-10 in Montreal last Friday. Pipkin started, didn't look good. Is it Vernon Adams' time to step up and try to help this offense? Take it away, Bobano. Last game on the card, Lions Stamps.
Oh, I'm sure he'd love to play. He just can't. I mean, he's not going to be able to heal up fully from this injury until, like we said, we're not going to see him until October or November, and that's best case scenario. Still a chance he may not even be back this year, Nathan Rourke. So it's the Vernon Adams and Antonio Pipkin show until further. What happened to Michael O'Connor? Has this guy just been forgotten all of a sudden? I mean, he got hurt in that first game. I know he kind of struggled in that very first little look he got against Saskatchewan. Then he got injured in that game and didn't return. But I'm shocked that he's just a forgotten commodity at this point. But, nevertheless, Vernon Adams is going to start here. I got to believe the BC offense will have its best game post Nathan Rourke injury. I think it's going to happen because, he's had 2 weeks now to practice, learn the offense, get some cohesion. This is still a great receiving core. Like the table, the pieces, like the table, the buffet table's been set for Vernon Adams. The offensive line's good. The receiving core is excellent. They can run the ball. James Butler's a good running back. There's toys you can play with to make this offense go if you're Vernon Adams. Now you got to go out there and play well. And the Calgary defense is still kind of suspect. I mean, they gave up 31 to Winnipeg, 28 last week against Edmonton. They gave up the 41 spot to Nathan Rourke in BC earlier this year, 35 to Winnipeg, 26 to Winnipeg. They've had some games where that defense has been a little bit spotty, but their offense is rolling. I mean, I've said from the beginning, I think Jake Mayer is going to be great for this team. And in the 3 games that they've had him at quarterback, 29, 26, 56 points scored, more than 30 points per game. He's the guy now. I mean, as much as Bo Levi Mitchell, I'm sure, is disappointed, Jake Mayer clearly has taken over this quarterback spot, and rightfully so. He's played very well. They got Malik Henry, Reggie Bagleton starting to play great again. I was waiting for him to get going, and he's had a couple of big monster games in the passing game lately for Jake Mayer. Malik Henry, Kadeem Carey, a great running back. They're going to put points on the board against BC because BC's defense has got injuries. TJ Lee in the secondary's out. There's another cornerback out. They haven't played as well lately. They gave up 31 to Montreal. They got sliced by Calgary when they played earlier this year in Calgary at McMahon Stadium. Gave up 40 points in that game against the Stampeders. So nothing on the side for me here. I mean, I kind of lean Calgary, but I don't want to lay this much. But I'm going to look at the over. I think this is a game where BC's offense can finally get something going. Vernon Adams has had 2 full weeks of practice now in this offense. I think he's going to be much more ready to play. And he's actually had some good games with Montreal in this stadium. He's played well at McMahon Stadium when Montreal's come here. So I'm going to just look for points. And I think Calgary's offense is a lot better than their defense right now. So over, it's high number, but I think it'll get there. Hell, we had 81 points when they faced each other a few weeks ago, 41-40. So that was with Rourke. We're not going to get 81 this time, but I think we get mid-high 50s. So over the total, BC Calgary.
You're getting a 52. Bono over 52.
Sounds good.
Man, you say McMahon Stadium. I have great memories of McMahon Stadium when I used to work in Alberta a few months of the year. And I know we got to move on, but one of my best buddies died. I got to be 9 months ago, maybe a year ago now. And we went. One of our other friends was moving weight. And that was back in the day when the CFL players could do as much drugs as they want. And so he had an illicit relationship with a Hall of Fame, and of course I won't mention names, but a very good Calgary Stampeder, a very dominant Stampeder. And it was Jeff Garcia Day. And so we got the press passes for Bob Garcia, Jeff Garcia, and Linda Garcia. We got our hands on them. And I was Linda Garcia, and I was method acting as Linda Garcia on the sidelines. And it was my first time on the sidelines for a football game. And anytime they come over to your side, you freak out. You know, we're all lit up. And it was absolutely one of my favorite memories of sports. And
the player benches area in the CFL, it's close to the field. There's not a lot of room. Yeah.
Yeah. And man, Matt Billen, I miss you very, very much. Okay, let's move on. And I can't get into some of the other stories in that stuff because I was going off on my son, Jeff Garcia, all day to anyone who would listen. I'm surprised I didn't get kicked out. Okay, let's move on to NCAA football. Quick review of CFL action here. Spreadsheet play of the day is on the Edmonton Elks at +7. And Rod Zawacki loves the Riders, even at that opening number at 9.5, which is wild. That's going to keep me off the game, I think. Pretty sure. I'm going to double up on the Ticats. I love the situation. Bobano's on the over 46 at -115 there, and he's on the over 52 at -110. Just 3 games on the board in the CFL. I'm going to keep it tight. Jose Bouquet is on UTSA spread, UTSA money line against Texas. We don't have that game set up to be broken down, but you guys broke it down, right? You and CMAC have that game broken down?
Yeah, we do. We have that. UTSA Texas was on the Hitting the Books show on Monday. And, of course, that game and every Saturday college football game will also be on Pub Hub tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, with me, Big Regu, DJ Big Boss, and Connor. So check that out. Shameless plug.
No, I love it. Definitely check out the break there. They've done such a great job, and the videos are just blowing up, and we're so excited about the show. So but I'm going to line shop for Jose for UTSA money line. Brooklyn Funk Project is on UTEP -2.5, and let's get into the big 2 games tonight. We start at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Florida State Seminoles 2-0. First game in the ACC against Louisville Cardinals, who are 1-0-1 in the ACC. Cardinal Stadium in Louisville, Kentucky. Beautiful weather, 83 Fahrenheit, mostly sunny, 5 miles per hour. Let's move over to the line history in this and talk about where the cash lies as well. And here we go. We have, oh my God, they're going to bring me up. They're letting me know what Merrimack College and Harvard is. Okay, let's go to Florida State, Louisville. Here we go. We have Louisville opening up as 2-point dogs at Pinnacle. They quickly went to 2.5 and then back to 2. 2.5, hit 3, back to 2.5, and then have been at 3 for today. So they're 3-point dogs. They've been at 3 since 8 this morning. 3 since 8 this morning. So we can imagine that means Florida State money is coming in. We already had the big Ragu give us Florida State -2.5 at -108 yesterday. Let's take a look at the total in this game. Remember, this is the Dabby Cab live bet stream tonight here on Pub Sports Radio. And what a game, Florida State, Louisville. This total has skyrocketed up, but I don't believe this opening. I think the site that we've moved to is kind of messing with me, so I'm not going to believe that opening line. It opened at 55. Let's say 55 and is now up to 57. 55 now up to 57. And I was looking at that first half over, but I've not pulled the trigger yet. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this one. We have 22,722 tickets in. They are giving 20% line value, maybe 15 or 18% to Louisville here at Sports Insights, 18% of the tickets and 38% of the cash. So clearly there's some sharp money on Louisville. 54% of the tickets, 59% of the cash. I'm not going to go over my whole breakdown that I did yesterday. I thought that the biggest issue here was, of course, Florida losing 31-23 at Louisville last year. Florida with the extra week to prepare. Jordan Travis is a Louisville transfer, so we know this game means so much to him, and he's got a ton of weapons to use. Now we have a Louisville Cardinals defense that held the Knights under 350 yards and 4 for 16 on third down and made us all money a week ago. And they have the Tennessee transfer Tyon Evans, being a bulldog, and you have Malik Cunningham running. So this is a very interesting spot. Let's hear your take, Bobano. Take it away. Florida State, Louisville.
I like Florida State here. I'll make it official still. I mean, I don't like that the numbers moved a little bit, and I took money line at -135. I know that's not going to be available right now. Let me just see what we've got here. But I'll take Florida State money line. I'll make that official here. Yeah, I like Florida State. I think Florida State's the better football team. I'll be quite honest. I do. -144 Pinnacle looks like the best price with the money line. So Florida State's got a really good defensive line. I mean, I know they've only had the one game against LSU, and if you're going to beat Louisville, you've got to be stout up front in the trenches, and you got to be able to shut that run game down. You got to be able to shut the running backs down, and most importantly, you've got to be able to do what UCF could not do last week, and that's not allow Malik Cunningham to become an impact with his legs and his feet. And that's exactly what happened. The only offense Louisville had last week was the running of the quarterback. That's it. They really didn't do much. And UCF couldn't even figure out how to stop that, or just didn't have the personnel to do that. Florida State does. You see what they did against LSU. What do they have? 4 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss against LSU. It was very impressive. 4 sacks, multiple TFLs. That defensive line blew up the line of scrimmage. And the Louisville offensive line was a little bit of a question mark for me. And to be honest, they haven't played great. They didn't really march up and down the field against UCF. They didn't do anything offensively against Syracuse in their first game. This is by far, it's not even close, by far, Florida, the best defense and the best front seven that Louisville's faced so far. And I think they're going to probably have some tough times with it. And you're right, Jordan Travis Florida State hasn't beaten Louisville under Mike Norvell, and Jordan Travis, neither is he. He's got a chance. This is the best Florida State team, in my opinion, since he's been there. And you're right about weapons. They've got they got a good backfield in the running back group. They've got Pookie Wilson, a dynamic receiver who just had a coming out party, I thought, against LSU. He was outstanding in the passing game for Jordan Travis on the receiving end of some terrific throws and catches as well. That guy's a really good receiver. And I think it's probably the best receiver that Louisville's faced. I mean, UCF's not littered with great receiving talent. Syracuse is an offense that's still in progress in terms of getting better. So I think it's a pretty cheap line. I mean, I actually made this above a field goal with Florida State. And I cashed with Florida State wire to wire against LSU. And I think this is Mike Norvell's best team. I thought Florida State was better than Louisville coming into the season. So at less than a field goal when I bet it, I was obviously very much interested in Florida State. We'll make them official, but we'll go with the money line here. Florida State minus 144. I lean under as well, actually, because I'll tell you what, we all thought Louisville would be this great offense. They haven't shown it, and Florida State's defense could really bottle them up tonight. So I don't know. Asking for 57 points, in my opinion, might be asking too much.
Interesting. You know what Ragu thought? Ragu thought first half over, full game under.
Yeah, that could be. That could be there. Yeah.
And so that's interesting that you're looking at that under as well. Let's go back to it quickly here. Let's go back to it. I just want to go back to this line history that's gone from 55 to 57 and just look at the cash flow once more. So it's gone from 55 to 57, 54% of the tickets, 59% of the cash on the over. It just doesn't correlate enough for me to pull the trigger, but I liked it. Oh, beautiful R2D2, my man. Says, talk to my bro, enjoy, and sponsors. Check out the real support. Thanks so much, bro. Man, my pleasure. Our pleasure. And everybody at Pub Sports Radio is a Joey Spencer fan, and we love him. Eric Jones in the house. Mike M says, I do like FSU getting the first half cover. Okay, so Ragu on Florida State minus 2.5 and minus 108. Bobano on Florida State at minus 144. Also, I'm a little hesitant to pull the trigger on this game, and the reason is I did move on 3 spots, but I started the year 0-3, and I've hit 10 straight right now. And whenever you get to double-digit winning streak, it's a big, big fucking deal. And so right now I'm on Penn State, Auburn over 47, and Texas A&M first quarter and first half, minus 0.5 and minus 3.5 respectively. Mike M says, what do you think about FSU team total over? I think that Bobano would like it better than Louisville, but not want to move on it if he's leaning to the under. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that is fair to say. Like I say, Louisville doesn't look like they're right offensively, and you're right about Cunningham and the throwing. I mean, it's not good. The accuracy is just not there consistently. Overthrows, underthrows. It's 30 of 51, 58% completions. That's not what you want to see. You want to see better than that from your quarterback in terms of efficiency and accuracy. No touchdown passes, 2 interceptions as well so far this year. I mean, this should be a very simple game plan if you're Florida State. Bottle up the run game. Keep the quarterback in the pocket. Let that defensive line contain him, which is good enough to contain him because we saw them blow up the line of scrimmage against LSU Sunday night a couple weeks ago. If you do that, you're winning this football game. It's that simple. And I think the offense for Florida State can do enough because I know Louisville's defense shut down UCF, but that's a limited offense. Syracuse went up and down the field against Louisville's defense week 1. This Florida State offense looks like it's balanced, it's potent. And I think they'll have some trouble. If you're Florida State, bottle up the quarterback, you're going to win the game.
One thing to look for, Robert Franklin says, I keep saying Cunningham is not that good. Overthrows receivers left and right. His accuracy is terrible. If FSU can bottle up his running the ball, this should be a TD or more win for FSU. And North Ender says, I just don't bet with the public. Don't always fade them, but never bet with them. I get that. One thing to look for here, and I'm going to look for it, is on these standalone college football games. And I know this isn't fully a standalone because you got the Wyoming Air Force game, and Air Force is becoming must-watch football. But these standalone games, the over gets hammered late. It always, 10 times out of 10, gets hammered late to the over. And it might give us, if it creeps up even higher and I can see some sharp action on the under, because what we'll see is you'll see it go all the way up to a high and then drop, 10 minutes, 8 minutes before kickoff because the sharps are coming and hammering it. So I think
that's what happened with UCF and Louisville last Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Very similar pattern, yep, with the total.
Yeah, it's the standalone Friday, so let's keep an eye out for that. Okay, let's move on to 8 p.m. Eastern. Air Force 2-0 and looking good against Wyoming. In the Mountain West, 60 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 13 miles per hour tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Let's start with the line history here in this one, and a huge move towards the Air Force. I wonder, is this getting too big? It opened up at 14. It lasted there for 2 hours, moved to 15. Lasted there for 2 hours, moved to 15 and a half. And then At that point, it jumped to 17 the following morning. So then it was 17 for a while, and we saw buyback. And we'll look at where the cash is, but we saw legitimate buyback, and it went back to 15. And then you can say, because this all is today, a lot of this movement, it was at 16. It was at 15 two days ago, 16 and a half last night. Now it's at 17. You can say, well, maybe that's the public coming in and hammering it. Let's take a look at the total. This total keeps dropping. It opened up at 50. It's now at 46 and a half. Let's see if this correlates with the cash in this one. 15,232 tickets in, and they're giving Wyoming 10% line value here. 40% of the tickets are on Wyoming and 50% of the cash, and it keeps moving towards the Air Force. If it's 50-50 with the cash and it keeps moving towards the Air Force, why would they be making Wyoming such a easier bet? Makes me not want to move on them. But let's hear Bobano's breakdown. 60% of the tickets on the over, 47% of the cash on the over. So public betting the over, and it's dropping like a weight. This is the best Air Force team we've seen in a long time. 6 straight wins dating back to last year, coming off the dominant 41-10 win at home over Colorado. Now we know Colorado's trash, but still it's a big win. Triple option stars, senior Brad Roberts, 174 yards, 3 touchdowns, ran for 1356 last year. You have the senior quarterback, Zeke Daniels, who can also run the ball very impressively. Wyoming comes off a 33-10 home win over FCS Northern Colorado. If we just put a line through that game and talk about their first 2 games, they were not good defensively. 500 yards they allowed of offense in the first 2 games. Can they run with Air Force? Sure, you can say the junior quarterback, Andrew Peasley, seems to be looking better each week. But can they run? Junior running back Titus Swen is more than capable, but it's a lot to ask. Is this too big of a spread, Bobano? Take it away, Air Force, Wyoming.
I don't think it is. I laid it with Air Force. I love Air Force this year. I'm going to be on them every opportunity I can. And this is coming into this year. This was a bet on team versus a bet against team. And I'm not sure things have changed. Now, the one thing is it's not easy to win in Laramie. Laramie, Wyoming's not an easy place to play. And Wyoming has had some good games there. They beat Tulsa there a few weeks ago as underdogs 40-37. But I'm not convinced Tulsa's as good this year. And they still got outgained by 122 yards despite the win. Tulsa just committed a bunch of turnovers in that game, and that really hurt, set them back. The defense has been absolutely ripped apart by Wyoming against any sort of good offense they've played. Illinois, remember that game, and that was a run-heavy Illinois offense, just like what they're going to see here from Air Force. And it's a situation where I think you look at it here, they're going to have success with that run game again, Air Force. That triple option, not only is the triple option tough to stop, especially when you don't have a ton of time to prepare for it, they've got a big offensive line this year. It's got a ton of size on it, and they're just pushing opposing defensive lines off the football. That's what they're doing right now. And Wyoming's had a tough time. Like, I go back to that Illinois game, 38-6. And in that game, they were powerless to stop the run. I mean, what did Brown have? 151 rushing yards. He just ran, like crazy over this team. And I think you're probably going to see more of the same here tonight against Air Force. It's a high number, but I actually had this one closer to 17. And I got it when it was like 14 and a half, 15, 16 and a half, like 17 would be my cutoff point. If we're to ever get above that, I don't think I'd be as interested, but I think there's a class difference between these two teams, as Zeke Daniels is also capable of making the throw throwing the football when need be, even though obviously they don't do that a whole lot. And this Wyoming defense, to me, again, questions. And their offense, if they fall behind, it's not an offense that's going to play catch up. Not with Andrew Peasley at quarterback. He's been way too inconsistent here. So I'm looking at here Air Force once again. I mean, I took cash with them last week against Colorado. They're going to have the capability this year, maybe more so than years past, where sometimes when they're big favorites, they slow it down. They don't always have that offensive execution to cover big numbers. I think this is a different Air Force team this year. Put it in context. Do you know how impressive they were last week? That they won 41-10. They were 17-point favorites. They covered. They won by 31. So they ended up getting the cash. They did all of that with a plus, 317 yardage edge. And they did all of that in spite of, a massive, negative in the turnover margin. In terms of the turnover margin, they were minus 3 in that game, minus 3 turnover margin for Air Force last week against Colorado. And they still won by 31, and they still covered the number. That tells you how good this team is. So I'm going to lay it here.
And we can get you a 16.5 with very low VIG, minus 104. No problem, Franco. That's so important. And I think I was I was answering Wine Time, who said the whole world is fading Louisville last week. They won outright, and we were all over Louisville, and I was on the under too. But we were all.
I don't think it was the whole world though, because there was some money coming back on Louisville, like the day of the game. It went from 6 to 5, so there were some people on Louisville for sure.
Oh yeah. I wish I had him on the money line.
Yeah.
I did not, but we were all over Louisville last week, and I just want to make it clear that was last week, thanks to Ragu's breakdown, not this week.
Yeah.
So this week he's on Florida State with Bobano. Make that clear, and we'll always.
Big Ragu is not some Florida State fanboy. He will give you an unbiased opinion on them. He'll tell you when he thinks they're going to be in. It could be a good day for them, and when might be a bad day for them.
Matty Ice looking at Wyoming first quarter as well. R2D2 Finland saying it would be great.
Yes, I would rather, to Matty Ice's point, I would rather if you're interested in Wyoming, and it is a lot of points. It is a lot of points. So it's not a shoe-in that Air Force is going to cover. So, but if you like Wyoming, I think it's better to have them earlier in the game than late, because that Air Force triple option, we saw it against Colorado last week. In the second half, they had nothing left in the tank, and then they're missing tackles left and right. That's what happens when you play a triple option offense and they're pounding on you for 4 quarters and they're leaning on you with that offensive line. So yeah, to Matt's point, if you like Wyoming, I think earlier in the game is the better option.
Cool. I like it. R2D2 saying it would be great to arrange a low bagger meeting in Vegas. We'll all go watch the fight and meet everyone. It'll happen. We would love that. Also, we should see if we can get the small town soldier we should get him a sponsor, man. We want him involved, and that would be so much fun to see him live in a fight, man. I love that. All right, let's go over NCAA football here. At this point, I'm not moving on anything. I do have some interest in the under, but the fact that it moved up to 57 and it's not shaking at this point is probably going to keep me off of it. But we have Bobano on both those spots. I am going to join Jose on UTSA plus the points. He's also on the money line, 375. Clearly, the market's moving towards them. You can catch that breakdown on Pub Sports Radio on our YouTube page. I'm going to watch it again before I move on it. But at this point, the only looks I've moved on, as I already said off the top, Penn State, Auburn over 47, and Texas A&M first quarter, first half. That is my plan here. Top Set says, when is the AC trip? Damn it. I promise you guys we're working on it. We still have the buy me coffee and buy me a beer going. We are working on it. It was just a lot going on last couple of weeks getting football together, and then I had to move and stuff. But we were so close to locking down a date. Let's move on to MLB. Bobano, what a roller coaster ride you have been, and it's been fun. It's been fun for me to track your action. You have more quantity of action. Last show, Friday, September 9th, Bobano gave us 18 bets. He went 10-8 plus 2.21 units. And there was a ton of plus money action. Of your 8 losses, Bobano, only 2 were minus spots. The 6 were all plus money spots. And you got off to an atrocious start with Washington. You lost 3 units in that Nats game to get your day started. So basically after that, you went 10-5. So it was an impressive day, plus 2.21 units. You're now 100 on this show. You're 107 wins, 105 losses, 50.5%. You're down 2.39 units, ROI minus 1.13%. And you're so close to the black. You have another day like you did last week. You'll be right back into the black. My quantity of action has dropped quite a bit now that football is back. I went 1-1 yesterday, down 0.2 units. I should have gone and trusted myself with the White Sox. At least I didn't. At least I was hesitant enough to stay off that first 5 under. Pittsburgh, New York Mets first 5 under was atrocious. Diamondbacks team total over 3.5. Shout out to the big Ragu. And Ragu believing in that pitcher, Jameson, I think his name was, to have a great start was Unbelievable. And I tell you, these pitchers, these young pitchers with ERAs over 6 in the PCL league that come up to the majors, they seem, and maybe it's just a vividness bullshit thing, but they seem to always be lights out, always. And now I know not to fade them. And you'll know I'm a good capper when I start backing them. And that's what he wanted to do. I basically talked him off when I went through all his stats and moved him over to team total over, which we were sort of fortunate to hit the over 3.5. So I'm 285 and 252, 53.1%, plus 10.44 units ROI, plus 1.94%, average line minus 108. Primetime 99, yes, Ian is on Florida State, and Bobano is on Florida State. All right, let's get to work. Bobano, I'm excited to break down this MLB card with you. It's a great time of year for baseball, and we have afternoon action in 2 hours and 17 minutes. The Colorado in a beauty matchup, man. I mean, you want your workday to go be more enjoyable. You got Germán Marquez versus Marcus Stroman to pop things off. Rockies 62 and 81. You know, not a horrific record, but you look at their road record and it is horrific. 22 and 47 at the Cubs, 61 and 82, 30 and 42 at home. We're at Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois. I'm going to bring up the weather and in a second. I don't have it up here. I should have had it up, and I apologize because it's such an important factor. And I'll bring that up. You know what? I'll just grab that right now while we're doing this really quickly. I should have had it up, and I apologize. All right, here we go. The weather at Wrigley. Pop up for me, please. And here we go. The weather at Wrigley is 80 Fahrenheit, 7.8 miles per hour out to left field. Gets up to 9 miles per hour. So it gets stronger and more offensive weather as the game goes on. Marquez, Stroman. We have the Rockies opening up at plus 114 and now plus 118. So there's been a 4 or 5 cent move to the Cubs. And this total opened up at 8 and it moved to 8.5. It moved to 8.5 at 9 this morning. Germán Marquez has been very good on the road all year long. It's hard to believe that when he's 8 and 10, 5.25 ERA, 1.39 WHIP, but he's been very good on the road. 6 and 5, 3.58 ERA, 207 opponent's batting average. His last start was ugly. Both these pitchers have ugly starts. They're coming off ugly starts. Marquez, 4 innings, 7 hits, 9 earned runs, 2 homers, 2 Ks, 3 walks, and a 13-10 win at home versus Arizona. Stroman went 4 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 homer, 4 Ks, 1 walk, and a 5-2 loss at home versus the weak-hitting Giants. Stroman has a 3.91 ERA, 1.20 WHIP, but he's been just atrocious at Wrigley Field. And there's last start, I was like, this will change. This will come back to the mean. It makes no sense. And I was wrong. He's just pitching bad at Wrigley, and I don't see why we should expect any different. 0-5, 7.11 ERA, 285 opponent's batting average. You could say, well, the Rockies don't hit righties at all outside of Coors, and that's a valid statement. Overall, in the last 30 days, they have a 220-614 OPS versus righties. The Cubs, 219-652 OPS, and both bullpens are terrible. Let's take a look at where the cash lies and then hand it over to Bobano for the first bet of the MLB card. 6,065 tickets in, slight line value to Stroman. 58% of tickets, 82% of cash on the Cubs. But then 74% of tickets, 74% cash on the over. So it's not like they're thinking there's going to be a great start here by Stroman. Bo Jackson saying Stroman pitching like Gausman at home. Jack Rosenblatt on the Rockies money line. Teacher says I'm on Germán and the Rockies. The Cubbies lineup has batters that are respectable. Marquez is okay on the road and horrible at home. Stroman regressing. Billy Friedrich says fade Stroman at home.
Yep.
Take it away, Bobano, Rockies, Cubbies.
Yeah, I'm looking at, we have confirmed lineups here. We have Zach McKinstry, Ian Happ, Jan Gomes, Fran Mil-Reyes, David Bodie, Jared Young, Michael Hermosillo, Nelson Velasquez, and Christopher Morel for the Cubs. That's not a great lineup, to be honest, other than Happ's the one guy you're fearful of. Other than that, not much. For the Rockies, you've got Ryan McMahon, Jonathan Daza, CJ Crone, Brendan Rodgers, Randall Grichuk, Michael Tolia, Connor Joe, Alan Trejo, who's actually been hitting pretty nicely for them at the bottom of the lineup, Brian Servin, the catcher. So that's their lineup. No, there's some missing bats. There's no Blackman, among others for them. They're in that lineup. But I still like Colorado, and the chat's onto it. I mean, this is a game with two bad baseball teams. Who's kidding who? But right now we've got the plus price with Marquez, who has been better on the road, a lot better on the road than he's been at home. You look at these road starts for German Marquez. I mean, he's been actually pretty decent away from Coors Field repeatedly coming into this start for them. I mean, 2 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs. I mean, you're looking at some pretty solid performances from him on the road. And I just can't get there with Stroman. I mean, you're right. At some point, you think, man, maybe this guy's going to accidentally fall ass backwards into a good start at Wrigley Field. He just doesn't pitch well there. 4 runs to the Giants in this field, 5 runs to the Cardinals. You know, he got battered by the Nationals, 4 runs, 5 hits, 5 innings here. I mean, it's just been one awful start after another. 7.11 ERA for Stroman at home. 1-8, the Cubs in his 9 home starts. 1-8. I'll repeat that. 1-8 are the Chicago Cubs and Marcus Stroman's 9 home starts this year. How can you lay a price with that kind of track record? And even though his ERA, the last 3 games overall, is still only 2.81, is pretty good. Cubs are 0-3. In those games. So, yeah, this is the Rockies for me. And the Rockies, you say what you will about they stuck against righties, and for the most part on the road, that's the case. I saw one good at bat after another against one of the best pitchers in baseball the other day, Dylan Cease. They made him work. They worked the count. They got some walks. They took good at bats. They were patient, and they cashed in a few runs against a guy that's been very difficult to score runs against this year. It was a great effort by that lineup of the Rockies against a great pitcher in Cease in that 3-0 win the other day against the White Sox. Live underdog, in my opinion, here.
Well, we can give you a plus 119 for you. Over with 212 bets Bobano's made on the show in MLB, an average line of minus 103.
Yeah, this is just full game, too, because, look, I know the Rockies' bullpen isn't great shakes, but Cubs' bullpen's terrible, too, so that's why I'll go full game. Take my chances that you can win in the 9 innings.
TJ says, a very valid point, Bobano. They seem to be working on their approach at the plate as a team. Rich Abraham says, wind blowing out to left at the friendly confines today, like the over 8.5. I get it. It's moved from 8 to 8.5. Troy Torrance says, Rockies on the road versus teams under 500 are like 2-10. I have to stay off of this. I just don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable with this spot. And I don't feel like I have an edge where enough correlates for me. I will cheer you on, Bobano, on the Rockies at plus 119. Franco White looking at the no-run first inning spot. Taint is in. We're going to talk about it. R2D2 Finland says coin flip. Rockies, Osby like in the over 8.5. Johnny K like in the first 5 under. Top set like in the first 5. Team total under for the Cubs. So top set and TJ expecting a nice start from German Marquez. And Lee Davis saying Stroman at home, man, being a victim too many times. All right, let's move on. 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Miami Marlins 59-85, 30-42 on the road at Washington Nationals, 49-94, 22-49 at home. I'm so thankful to be here with you guys. I love this. I'm so thankful that I get to cap the car with you guys. Just very thankful. Love Fridays with Bobano. All right, let's go. Nationals Park, Washington, D.C. We're going to start with the weather in Washington. 75 Fahrenheit, 3 miles per hour out to right field, and the wind's all over the place, but it doesn't matter. Center field, right field, left field, end of the game because it's light, 3 miles per hour. Move over to the line history here in this one. Luzardo versus Josiah Gray. Both pitchers regressing. You have a 5-cent move to Jesus Luzardo in the Miami Marlins. From a total perspective, it opened up at 7.5 and it's now at 8. It is juiced to the under at 8, but it has moved up a half run. So we have a slight move to the Marlins and a move to the over. We'll see if the cash correlates with that. Just 2,433 tickets in on this one. The only game with less is the Jays game, and they haven't announced their starting pitcher, although we have an idea who that is going to be the starting pitcher, and the Reds-Cards game. Other than that, this is the lowest bet game, and who wants to bet on it? I do. I love bum fights. 53% of the tickets, that's spread. My God. Sorry. 75% of the tickets, 67% of the cash is on Miami. So there is sharp money coming in on Washington. I was hoping that wouldn't be the case. And look at it, 60% of tickets, 97% of cash on the under, and they move it up to 8.5. They're begging for under money. That's tricky. The only angle that I sort of had before we studied the market was, look what Luzardo does on the road and look what Josiah Gray does at home. But I don't know if I want to trust Luzardo after what we've seen from him over the last little bit. 3-7, 3.81 ERA, 1.10 WHIP. He's been good this year. Very good when he started, and he seems to be regressing. 3 1/3 last out, 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 homer, 3 Ks, 3 walks, and 9-3 loss at home versus the Mets. And remember, the Mets don't hit lefties. So for them to be hitting Luzardo as hard as they are, it was a surprise. But on the road, he's been lights out. 2-2, 2.54 ERA. Listen to this: 136 opponents batting average. Now the sample size is smaller. He's only thrown 75 2/3 this year. Josiah Gray, 7-9, 5.06 ERA, 1.37 WHIP. Has allowed 36 home runs in 131 2/3. His last start, he got touched. It was at St. Louis. Who could blame him for getting touched there? 3 1/3, 6 hits, 4 runs, 2 homers, 3 Ks. At home, he's been so bad. 2-7, 6.51 ERA, 262 opponents batting average. For some reason, I have the Nats numbers versus righties on my worksheet. That's a mistake. I'll pull up the lefties. But Marlins versus righties, just 206, 598 OPS. Marlins bullpen so bad, 5.08 ERA and a 1.74 WHIP over the last 30 days. Atrocious. While the Nats bullpen's been good for a little while. Over the last 33.68 ERA, 1.19 WHIP. Take it away, Bobano. Game 2, Marlins-Nats.
Yeah, I'm sick of both of these guys. I mean, Luzardo's frustrating. He hasn't pitched well. 2 of the last 3 starts have been rough for him, where he's given up 5 runs to the Rays and to the Mets. That's not something I like to see. And I'm sick of Josiah Gray now because, I've tried backing him a couple of times, and it's just the same old shit. It gives up some hard contact, 10 runs in the last 8 innings against the Mets and the Cardinals. I'm sick of the home runs. He's given up 2 in each of the last 2 starts. He's given up the number of home runs is not good. He's got to fix it. Okay, you can't be giving up 2, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 13, 14, 16, 18 home runs in your last 10 starts. Can't be giving up that. And Josiah Gray continues to get victimized by the long ball. I'm sick of trusting either of these fucks, to be quite honest. I'm pissed off with both of them because I try to back them. They suck. And that's been the way it's been lately with both of them. So same with the total. It's hard. You look at some of these recent starts. How do you not take over 7.5 with what these 2 guys have been giving up lately? But they're both quality enough with their stuff when they're on their game to pitch a 3-2 game. So all over the place, easy pass.
I wish the bigger bets were on the Marlins. If they were, I'd be on Luzardo on the road, and I would say that's my advantage. That's my angle. Luzardo on the road against Josiah Gray.
These 2 bastards should be so much better than they are. Luzardo should be much better than he is. Josiah Gray should be much better than he is. When are you going to grow up, guys? I guess maybe we're not going to see it.
I haven't seen. I don't remember Bobano this pissed off in some time. I'm sorry that I get
seriously. We've been hearing about how good Gray's stuff has been for 2 years, and he's still giving up fucking long balls. And Luzardo, I'm sick of hearing about all the potential and all the high ceiling for Jesus Luzardo. Maybe get out of the 6th inning or 5th inning every now and then.
Okay, I love it. I love it. Little passion here on Friday with Ian Cameron. Let's move on to 7:07 p.m. Eastern. Now, there's no line, but we think it's Thomas Hatch, right? Do we think it's the 27-year-old journeyman who's going to be pitching for the Jays today?
Yeah, let me just see here. It hasn't been confirmed yet. They took the name off the marquee here. Let me just see if we've got an update here. It looks like we've got Yusei Kikuchi. Wow. Back in the starting rotation. You got to be shitting me. Maybe Thomas Hatch would be a better option.
Or maybe Hatch is the opener, and then Kikuchi comes in after we get through the thick of the first.
I don't see it because usually on RotoWire, if there's an opener, they'll list the primary pitcher on the marquee. They don't have the primary label beside Kikuchi, so it makes me think Kikuchi is starting.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Wow, that he must be starting, and that is the switch because RotoWire had Hatch up before.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so it's
Hatch is probably in the plans because you're not going to get a long number of innings out of Kikuchi. You will probably see Hatch at some point, but it's going to be Kikuchi starting.
Wow, another Kikuchi start, and this is not up at. It's up at Pinnacle.
No.
Wow. How do you not? Now the Orioles don't hit lefties. Wow. I wonder, is it up at Bet365?
Either do the Jays, but they're not facing one today.
I wonder if it's up at Bet365. Well, this is an interesting turn of events. Let's just take a look here. Is it up? It's they're just giving it. They're not listing the pitcher, but it is up. You can get the Orioles at plus 140, and this total's at 9. Let's talk about Lyles. That's what we do know, and we know that this is the last gasp attempt for the Orioles to make a dent in the wild card. Lyles 10-10, 4.62 ERA, 1.46 WHIP. His last start was so bad. It was at home versus the Red Sox, 3 2/3, 7 hits, 8 earned runs, 1 homer, 1 K1 walk. He's been much better on the road than he has been at home this year. On the road, 4-3, 3.77 ERA, 294 opponents batting average, and Kikuchi's just atrocious. If we think that Lyles and Lyles is more than capable of having a bounce back start, I'm going to pull up Lyles's recent game log, and that's what I'm going to focus on. Lyles game log. What do you think about Jordan Lyles here? And is this an automatic bet on the Baltimore Orioles if Cooch is on the mound?
So you mentioned the lefties. You're right. That's a concern. But is this a quality lefty, really? Yusei Kikuchi, after everything we've seen this year from him? No, it is not. Is 5.46 ERA, 1.58 whip. The walks have been off the charts. Just absolutely terrible that he's got 56 walks this season in 92 innings pitched. That is a horrendous ratio. 56 walks in 92 innings. I'm going to keep it simple because I don't know what Lyles is going to do. Okay, Lyles is all over the place too. We can't act like Jordan Lyles is Mr. Consistent and trustworthy. 4.62 ERA. Last outing against Boston, he got absolutely destroyed. He gave up 8 runs in 3.2 innings against a Red Sox lineup that kind of not great compared to where they've been in the past. So I'm taking out Lyles. Don't want to deal with him. I could make a case for Baltimore money line, but I don't want to deal with what Lyles may or may not do against the Blue Jays, especially with the Blue Jays coming off an 11-0, shellacking at the hands of the Tampa Bay Rays yesterday. I'm just going to focus on Baltimore. Give me 4 runs against, Kikuchi and basically a laundry list of relievers that the Jays are going to roll out after Kikuchi. So I'm going to go with Baltimore team total over 3.5, minus 132. I see at Pinnacle. I'm just going to ask the Orioles to get me 4 runs in this game against the Jays, against Kikuchi and the rest of the assortment that they'll be trotting out there. And look, the Orioles have scored 10 runs in the last 2 games in the 2-game series against Washington. They scored 6 in the second game, 4 in the first game. They've scored at least 4 runs in 3 of the last 4 games overall, and that's all we need here. Give me 4 runs. I think they can get the job done there.
Wow. I'd love that bet. I'm certain it's not going to be available to me. I'm certain that's going to be a 4.5 once it comes out. Bet 365.
Thankfully, Pinnacle. Thank goodness for them. Great job, guys. That's why I love that book.
It is a great book. Bobano Orioles team total over 3.5. For those of you thinking about the first 5 overs and the full game overs, just to give you a thicker idea on Bobano's uncomfort with Lyles, who's been just a very difficult pitcher to catch. So he allows 8 earned runs in 3 2/3 last out. The 2 starts before that, he went 13 2/3 innings at home against the White Sox and at the Guardians, 2 teams that are hitting decent, and he allowed 1 run, a solo shot in 13 2/3 innings. You go look at the 2 starts before that. He goes 8 1/3 against the Red Sox and the Rays, and he allows 8 earned runs. And you back up before that, he has 4 starts, or let's go 3 starts. He goes 18 innings, and he allows 3 earned runs. So he's just, you just don't know what you're going to get. Dom play, I have not, but both Bobano and Ragu are on Florida State. And Big Ragu says you can't give any major league team extra outs, even the bottom feeders. Bo Jackson says fade the Kikuchi. I want to fade Kikuchi, but I think the best way of doing it is to take Lyles out of the picture.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm doing. Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put a bunch of.
And for Baltimore, you got to think they're coming into this series like, look, guys, what are we? 5 games back now? Like we got to win at least 2 out of 3, if not sweep this series, but at least bare minimum win 2 out of 3 this weekend against Toronto. So I expect full focus, a real let's get the job done mentality from Baltimore. And tonight's a great opportunity for them. So really like that team total.
I think that's a great bet. Great bet. Paul Capo, yes, we make a ton of NFL predictions, and we've never been hotter in the history of our careers in NFL. I started 24-4. I mean, we're just eating.
Let me just say, what's your record? 24-4?
24-4 up 19.9 units.
Wow. I'm 22-6 so far this NFL. That's 46-10. 2 of us combined in the NFL. 46-10. How about that?
I've never started 24-4 in any sport. But Paul Capo, go to our YouTube page, our homepage, and you will see all of our NFL breakdowns. We try to focus all of that. That's why we don't really generally talk much Saturday NCAA football here, because we want you to go and check out Bobano and C-Max videos. That's really important to us. So,
yep.
And then you have Razor 6-1. Like it's been uncanny.
Yep.
It's been uncanny.
Yep.
There's T-Mac in the house.
There's nowhere to go but down now with a record like that.
Well, we're going to regress. I mean, come on. That goes without saying. But you could regress a little bit and still have the greatest season of your career.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. All free, Paul Capo. That's the thing about Pub Sports Radio. We will sell you nothing. We will sell you nothing. There you go. Thank Jeff Slaughter for that, our owner and leader. And okay, so that is the Orioles Jays. Bobano on the team total over 3.5. I have a bunch of asterisks beside it. I would like to move forward on it. Okay, let's move on to 7:10 p.m. Eastern. And a man who is now 13 of his last 14 on the taint play of the day is in business here in White Sox-Tigers. The taint play of the day. Paulie D, what's happening, my man? Great to have you. White Sox-Tigers. The taint play today is White Sox first 5 -1/2. Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. And if anybody knows these Tigers, it is our Matty Ice. Let's take a look at the weather in Comerica. 78 Fahrenheit, 7.1 miles per hour in, drops to 5.9 miles per hour. So it's not very offensive weather. Let's take a look at the line history at Pinnacle for Detroit White Sox, Giolito, Manning. Now, my first instinct is I like both of these pitchers. I like what Giolito's done of late. And I was like, wow, this feels like an under. And, of course, the market was moving to the over, and I stayed off and thought, let's talk it out with you guys. This opened up at -141. It's now -147 for the White Sox. So a 6-cent move over to the White Sox. When we go over to the total, it opened up at 8, and it's dropped to 7.5. What the hell? I guess it was available for me at 7.5 when I looked at it. I guess I didn't realize it had opened at 8. And the money was on the over, and it stopped me. Matty I says first 5 under is also on his card. Man. Paul Capo says White Sox need to win to stay in the wild card race. They will be motivated. You're damn right. They have had a ton of motivation. It's just that Matt Manning is more than capable of pitching very well here. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this one here. We have 5,371 tickets in. 19% of the tickets, 48% of the cash. It's on the Detroit Tigers. 90% of the tickets are on the over, and Sports Insight's not giving us a cash amount. So that makes me think that the under is definitely in play. If the public is hitting the over on this, the wind's blowing in, they cut it a half run, and the books are saying, we'll take all your money on the over. Yeah, I like that first 5 under. I had under question mark. I think just seeing the 90% of tickets on the over, my initial thought was, oh, I'm on the wrong side. I think that was last night. I think this has got to be like around 2 in the morning, 1:30 in the morning. Lucas Giolito going up against Matt Manning. Giolito has had a bad year, 10-9, 5.18 ERA, 1.49 WHIP. He's a big game pitcher, and he's coming off a win. I don't know. He got this is what Bobano. You cashed your -1.5 run line. You had to think when crazy. It was 3-0 going into the last top Friday. Of the ninth that you were in trouble.
That was wild.
But they came up with 5 runs in that top of the ninth. Giolito should have been better. I mean, yeah, he had a quality start, but the A's aren't hitting. You're in a pitcher's ballpark. He went 6 innings, 3 earned runs, 6 Ks, 2 walks. He's been much better on the road than he's been at home. 3.96 ERA, 256 opponents batting average. Matt Manning's a hell of a pitcher. Very, very high draft pick, very highly thought of prospect. He went 6 1/3 last out, 3 runs, just 2 of which were earned, 4 Ks, 1 walk, and 8 for a win at Kansas City. 3.73 ERA, 1.22 WHIP. At home, he's 1-2 with a 3.06 ERA, 207 opponents batting average. The White Sox all year long have had these stats. This is over the last 30 days, but they're hitting righties with a nice average at 257, but no power, 706 OPS. Tigers are hitting righties 225 and 661 OPS last 30, which is better than their season-long numbers. And both bullpens have been struggling. Both ERAs over 4, both WHIPs over 1.30 over the last 30. Take it away, Bobano. We have the taint play today on White Sox first 5 -1/2. What are you doing here?
Yeah, this is a game where I'm passing. I'm just too much. I don't want to lay that price with Giolito or the White Sox. And Obviously, they need the wins. Manning has he's been good, actually, especially in Detroit, but he's also had some rough starts here a couple of times. Like the Seattle game stands out, 7 runs. He gave up 2.1 innings in that one. Outside of that, though, he's been better. Giolito has struggled against the Tigers this year, though, really. I mean, 9 runs, 13.2 innings, which is not good at all, considering the Tigers' offense isn't great. And Manning faced the White Sox earlier this year. He gave up 4 runs, 10 hits in 5 innings. That's probably also what they're seeing, and like in the people betting the over, is that Giolito starts are 3-0 to the over against Detroit, and Manning's 1 start against the White Sox flew over the total. So I think that's what they see. But these are 2 inconsistent lineups. I think Chicago. I wanted to take Chicago here, but I didn't love the price enough, so I stayed off.
I don't want to mess with Manning. He's capable of excellent work, and even when the White Sox needed Giolito to have his best start, they needed it so badly against a weak A's lineup, and he still allowed 3 earned runs over 6. Let's take a quick look here at the line history. Or sorry, I say that so often. Take a quick look at the batter versus pitcher before I decide to move on the first 5 under 4, which I'm certainly leaning towards right now. You have good numbers against Manning. Vaughn 3 for 6. Gavin Sheets 3 for 9. I guess that's about it. Abreu 2 for 7. Jimenez 3 for 9. Against Giolito, they hit him hard. I mean, these are weak batters, but you got their top guys hitting them hard. There's only a few that don't. I mean, maybe I feel like 4 is a pretty sharp line. Matty I says Giolito, Copa's a different animal. Says loves pitching here and against the Tigers who can't hit righties. I mean, I'll keep my interest on this, but I will add a couple question marks. I'll study it a little bit more when the show's over, but I definitely lean towards the first 5 under 4. We have Matty Ice on the taint play of the day. White Sox first 5 minus a half. And we move on. Look at those numbers. Those are nice at Comerica. 1.26 whip, 220 opponent's average, or 220 probably a ERA. Okay, let's move on. Next up, 7:10 p.m. Eastern, and this is the game that young Jose Zenyatta Bouquet, our show's producer, will be at tonight in Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts. He will be alongside Nasty Nate, who promises that he will get Jose extremely intoxicated. Seamus Ignoramus may also be there as well. If you are in the Boston area, Kyle Hintley and all you guys in the Boston area, go down and hang with the boys and Jose Bouquet watching his beloved Red Sox in action. We're at Fenway Park in Boston. Let's start with the weather here. Let's see what we got. We have, here we go. 67 Fahrenheit, 6.7 miles per hour left to right, slightly in, and then becomes quite a bit in at 6.9 miles per hour. Let's take a look at the line history in this Red Sox Royals. I already told you that there's, at least when I looked last night, there was a lot of sharp money on the Royals. Let's see if that has stayed. The Royals, well, there's been a big move towards Boston. They opened up at minus 188. They're now minus 203. So last night when I was looking at them, there had been a 5-cent move towards the Red Sox. Now there's been a 15-cent move towards the Red Sox. From a total standpoint, it opened up at 9.5 and it dropped to 9. Interesting. Let's see if the cash correlates with all of that in this Red Sox Royals matchup. We have half line value on the Kansas City Royals, 5,649 tickets in, just 11% of the tickets, but 36% of the cash is on Heasley and the Royals. Then you have 37% of the tickets on the over and 68% of the cash, and they're dropping it from 9.5 to 9. That is very interesting. Now, Heasley, so we have a bunch of pitchers on today's card that are coming off, well, 2 of them are coming off terrible starts and one's coming off a good start, but they both saw the opposition in back-to-back starts. Jonathan Heasley is in that group. Now, look, he's been bad this year. 3-8, 5.51 ERA, 1.57 whip. And his last start, he got lit up by the Tigers. 4 innings, 7 hits, 7 earned runs, no strikeouts, and 2 walks, and an 8-4 loss at home. But that was his second straight start versus the Tigers. In his first start versus the Tigers, and that was on the road in Comerica, he went 7 innings, allowed 8 hits, 2 earned runs. It was excellent. Then he saw him again, and he gets touched. On the road, he's been better than he's been at home. 1-2, 4.54 ERA, .261 opponent's batting average. MDR24 says, can Jose puke down the green monster when he fails to chug, please? I would love that. I agree. I think that would be very good. Good says, late to the party. You going to wrap it up soon, Jimmy? No, we're only like 4 games through a 15-game MLB card. We're just getting started. Good, my man. Thank you for joining us. Johnny K says Red Sox spot. Michael Wacha has been very, very, very good at home. Is this real? When's he going to start regressing? Walker's 11-1. Can you believe he's 11-1 this year on a team that is sitting 69-74? Walker flame. 2.69 ERA, 1.03 WHIP. Last start, 3 earned runs. Quality start, 5 strikeouts, no walks, and a 17-4 win at the Orioles. Against righties, the Royals are 207, 608 OPS. Red Sox against righties are hitting them really hard, 286, 783 OPS, and then both bullpens are very bad. Coin says feels like we have runs at Fenway. I'm thinking the opposite. If they're moving it from 9.5 to 9, and they have, let's go back to it. If they're moving it from 9.5 to 9, and we're sitting with 68% of the cash on the over, why would that be? Maybe we do, but I don't know if we do early. We have the wind kind of blowing in. It becomes it's left to right, but by the 2 hours into the game, it becomes pretty decent in. Let's hear what Bobano has to say. Take it away. Heasley, Wacha, Royals, Red Sox.
I will not bet a Heasley start under. That guy is just 4 straight, by the way, over for him on the road. He's not very good. I'm debating whether I go with the over, the Boston team total over, because I don't think Wacha's keeping this up, but Kansas City's not hitting right now. Not at all. And that's the one thing that I'm fearful of. Are they even capable of hitting someone like Michael Wacha, who's been actually solid, but a lot of his peripheral numbers say, his xFIP and his FIP are just above 4, yet his ERA is where it is. So it tells you he should regress at some point, but the Royals, can they score? I mean, look, they got 2-0-3. They scored 5 runs in 3 games just now and getting swept by the Minnesota Twins. Not pretty for the Royals right now offensively. And if that Vinny Pasquantino's not hitting for them, nobody is right now on this Kansas City lineup. So it's the one thing I'm hesitant on. I'm not going to make it official yet, mull it over, but I'm leaning over, and I might even go closer toward a Red Sox team total over, just in case I've got fears about Kansas City hitting any pitching right now with what I've seen. But I definitely don't want an under with Heasley. He's not a guy I trust, and I think Boston will probably do some damage.
See, I have more faith in Heasley than others. And I look at his game log. I can make the excuse for seeing the Tigers a second straight time. If you look at his 5 starts, I guess you can't because he got touched by the Yankees. If you look at his 4 starts before this, he allows, 7 runs in 21 innings? I mean, it's not. And here's it. This is a huge start for him. The total's high. We've seen it drop, even though they have public on the over. I guess I shouldn't say it looks like public's on the under for some reason, but the bigger bets are on the over. Maybe this is just enough to keep me away, but a total of 5 with no vig. We know that the Royals aren't hitting.
Yep.
So
this could be 6-1. Like, I think Boston will get theirs. It's just, he does have a 1-something ERA at home, Wacha. Which is good.
1.79.
I don't think it's going to sustain, though. Yeah, 1.79 at Fenway.
There's Dabby Cab in the house. Great to see you, Dabby Cab. Huge NCAA football live bet stream here tonight on Pub Sports Radio. The Seminoles against the Cardinals. Florida State, Louisville. I feel like this is similar to the Bundy first 5 under that pushed yesterday that Ragu was on, but that full game went 3-2. I'm not good. I can understand the concern here, but I think we can get there. I really think we can get there today if we know what Wacha is going to do. Matty Ice says bet MGM has Red Sox to win in both teams. To hit 5-0 at minus 115. Okay, I do lean towards the first 5 under 5. And Bobano, you're staying off of this?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. There's just enough that I'm concerned about that I'm gonna stay off it. And like you, I'm minimizing my volume in baseball as we come down the stretch.
All right, let's roll on Bobano. Bobano, because of my makeshift studio here in the new spot, I'm in a painful sitting situation. I'm going to set this game up, and then I'm going to need just to stand up and get the blood flowing. So
That's fine.
I'll be off for about a minute. Bo Jackson says the Twins look appealing. Let's talk about this spot. Minnesota Twins at Cleveland Guardians. Twins 72-70, 29-38 on the road at the Guardians, 76-66, 36-31 at home. Matty I says, I don't think KC gets the 5. Walker being solid at home. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Bailey Ober, he's been sidelined by a strained groin for a long time. He's been out of the rotation since early June, and he had a 3-game rehab assignment. First 2 starts were at single A Fort Myers, and as you would imagine, he just shut them down completely. 1.29 ERA, 0.71 WHIP. Then he went to AAA, and he looked good. 4 2/3, 1 run, 1 hit. Struck out 6, walked 2. He had a 4.01 ERA, 1.28 WHIP before he got hurt. Going up against Tristan McKenzie, who's been so good this year. Coming off a win at Minnesota where he didn't allow a run in 7 innings. 3.05 ERA, 0.97 WHIP. At home, lights out. 5-3, 2.84 ERA, 192 opponent's batting average. Twins are just not hitting right now. Most important part of the season, they just don't hit. Last 30, 236, 652 OPS versus righties. And the same can be said about the Guardians, 237, 647 OPS. White Sox are now 3 back behind these Guardians. Twins are right in the picture still, too. The Guardians bullpen last 30, best in baseball, 1.98 ERA, 0.98 WHIP. Twins bullpen, 3.61 ERA, 1.32 WHIP. It's fair if you were to say the Guardians have the best bullpen in the last 30 days because of their opposition, and that the Dodgers bullpen or a different bullpen, the Astros bullpen is better. That'd be a fair thing to say. Let's move over to the line history here and the weather. In Cleveland, we have 77 Fahrenheit, 3.3 miles per hour in, and it's only in for the first hour, then it becomes sideways, and then it actually becomes slightly out. And it's light. So don't let that really affect your plans on a total here. Then from a line history standpoint, we have the Twins opening up at plus 120. They're now plus 128. Interestingly enough, the initial move was towards the Guardians, towards the Twins, and then it's come back, and now it's definitely on the Guardians. From a total perspective, it opened up at 7.5 at a pick'em. It's moved 1 cent to the under, so very little movement here. Let's take a look at the cash in this one. We have 3,051 tickets in, 17% of the tickets, 21% cash on the Twins. Then it's 50-50 on the total, but 69% of tickets on the under. You have to think this is a playoff type baseball game. You have to think that both teams come attack it like that, and that's why the total's so low, and yet it's still being bet to the under. Take it away for us, Bobano. I'll be right back, and I'll be listening.
Yeah, I'm going to be on Cleveland full game money line. Very simple, right here. Minus 130 is the best price at Caesars I see right now. Let me see if I can shop for better than that. Yeah, it looks like minus 130 at Caesars is the best that we're going to be able to do right now. But yeah, I mean, to me, look, I took the Twins, and if you follow me on Twitter at Bobano, you see I posted a couple of plays in the Minnesota-Kansas City series on Minnesota minus 1 run line. Pushed last night 3-2, won the night before 4-0, and the first game of that series 6-3. So they did sweep Kansas City, but the lineup is still not hitting consistently. The Guardians have played great ball. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They are coming off that 8-2 loss yesterday afternoon against the White Sox, but they faced Lance Lynn, and they had a guy pitching for them, Hunter Gaddis, who his numbers down in AAA weren't great, and his major league level numbers were horrible. So I can't really be that shocked that the White Sox ended up winning that game. It's probably a good bounce back for Cleveland here, and I think they want to put Minnesota away for good. Now, Minnesota's talking the talk. We do want to keep in mind that for the Twins, this series is everything for them. They have to win it. They've got to gain ground on Cleveland in this series, if they're going to try to get back into the mix. But it's not going to be easy. I really like Tristan McKenzie. Yeah, he had a couple of starts there after maybe it was post All-Star break where, things just aren't totally right, but he's gotten right ever since then. I mean, he's had 6 or 7 straight starts where he's given up 0 or 3 or less 2 or less in 6 of those last 7 starts. Shut out Houston. 2 runs to the Jays, good lineup. 2 runs to the White Sox. 3 runs to Seattle. 2 runs to Baltimore. 3 runs to Kansas City. Shut out Minnesota. And for the most part, he faced some pretty good lineups, pretty good teams in that mix. And, he looks like he dominated the Twins. He faced them last. Now, he did have some rough starts against them back in June, but certainly looked like he ironed that out when he faced them just a week ago. Bailey Ober back from the injury list. He's not someone I've got a high amount of upside for. 4.01 ERA for him prior to the injury. He's been out since the start of June, so you're talking 2 months plus. We'll see how he fares here, but 4.01 ERA. He's going to have apparently some limitations with his pitch count and his workload coming back from the IL, which means you're going to see plenty of this Twins bullpen probably tonight. And to be honest with you, the Twins bullpen, it's not been quite as good lately. All 4 ERA the last 10. So, you put it all together. I thought the price was reasonable for Cleveland. I know Minnesota's talking the talk. Got to have it. Got to have it. Got to have it. There's a reason they're in a situation where it's a got to have it game and it's a got to have it series. They haven't been good enough to put themselves in a position where they're the chaser or they're the team to be chased. They're the ones trying to do the chasing, and that's because they just haven't played consistent, good enough baseball throughout the season. So I think Cleveland here is a reasonable price, reasonable enough to lay the price with them.
I get it. I completely get the Guardians at -130 you're locked in on. I'm going to move on the full game under. I think this is coached like a playoff game. I think this is extremely important. Best relievers will come out. It's the beginning of an important
I would
series.
lean under. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to move on the
full I don't love Ober. That's the one thing but Ober's going to be on a short leash. If Ober's in any sort of trouble, Rocco Baldelli's yanking his ass out. It's in a game like this. There's no doubt.
Pimp slap play today by our Mike M is on the Guardians. And Don Play saying, are you on any unders? I think I'm going to move on this first 5 under 5 in Kansas City, Boston. I know that sounds crazy. I have a lot of interest in the first 5 under 4 in Chicago, Detroit. So that's it for me. And then I'm going to be on this full game under 7.5 in Minnesota, Cleveland. All right, we roll on. Pittsburgh Pirates at New York Mets. These Pirates 55-89, 27-46 on the road at the New York Mets, 90-55, 47-26 at home. We're at Citi Field in Queens, New York. Let's talk about the weather here at Citi. 76 Fahrenheit, 4.9 miles per hour in. Dice down to 3.9. Let's move over to the line history in this one. Keller versus Walker, and Keller is being excellent. And we are big fans of Keller here. You guys know what we think of the great Helen Mitch Keller. Always believed in her. She's a boss on the mound, and she's throwing really nice right now. There has been, though, an 18-cent move towards the New York Mets. They don't love Mitch Helen Keller like we do. From a total standpoint, opened up at 7.5 juice to the over. It's now juice to the under. So from the total standpoint, they believe that Mitch Helen Keller is going to fire. That's right, Real Deal Prime. Stone Cold Mitch Helen Keller. Let's take a look if the cash flow follows the under or likes the Pirates at all. I did lose on the first 5 under yesterday with JT Brubaker. Here we go. There are 3 teams with full line value. Full line value. And that is the Milwaukee Brewers up against the Yankees, up against the spreadsheet play today. That is the Texas Rangers with Martin Perez going up against Corey Kluber. And the aforementioned Pittsburgh Pirates and Mitch Keller going up against Taijuan Walker. 6,531 tickets in, 27% of the tickets in, 82% of the cash on the Pirates. The market's moving towards the Mets. 61% of the tickets and 90% of cash on the over. And yet they're taking the the juice completely off of anybody who wants to bet the over. Wow. That is fascinating. Okay, let's talk about Mitch. Back-to-back starts without allowing a run. 4.01 ERA, 1.41 whip. He's starting to have nice numbers for the season. His last start at home versus the Cardinals, he was lights out. 7 innings, 2 hits, didn't allow a run, 6 Ks, 3 walks against a tough Cardinal squad. Now he faces a tough Mets squad. On the road, he's got a 4.09 ERA, 267 opponents batting average, so the splits are fine. Taijuan Walker starting to pitch well again, or do we say the Miami Marlins are terrible? Both can be valid. 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run. It was a solo shot, 10 strikeouts, no walks. At home, 3.64 ERA, 234 opponents batting average. The Pirates versus righties, 233, 675 OPS last 30. Mets versus righties, the best in the league. 280, 801 OPS. Pirates bullpen so bad, 5.45 ERA. Mets bullpen 3.18 ERA, 1.28 WHIP. What do you think here, Bobano? Take it away. Pirates, Mets.
I'm going to take Pittsburgh plus 195, first 5 money line. I'm going to do it. And it's got to be first 5 only. And normally I like doing the split, but can't do it with the Pirate bullpen. I mean, the Pirate bullpen's got a 5+ ERA. It hasn't been good. Rather focus on the first 5 innings in this game. And it's hard to deny what Keller's doing. I mean, sub 1 ERA his last 3 starts. And look, if I hadn't seen the Cubs, or the Mets rather, get swept by the Cubs and score a grand total of 6 runs in those 3 games against the trio of Javier Assad, Adrian Sampson, and Drew Smiley, I'd probably have less confidence on Pittsburgh here. But we've seen the Mets lately. They've had some games where their offense is asleep, and it hasn't hit, even against mediocre pitching. And, you know, early in the year, he was mediocre pitching, Mitch Keller. Not now, though. He's in good form. And I've got no issues at all going against Taijuan Walker. Because he's kind of been a little shaky post All-Star break. He's had some bumps in the road. He was much better against Miami, but everybody's shutting down Miami. Before that, against the Pirates, he struggled, and Pirates beat him 8-2 back on September the 6th. Then Pittsburgh gave up 4 runs, 6 hits in 5 innings, 3 runs, 5 hits, 5.1 innings to the Dodgers, kind of labored in that start. Before that, I did figure some regression was coming for him, and it's happened. And in fact, 2 starts against the Pirates, the last 2, for Walker, he's given up 10 runs in 5.1 innings, and not good at all, specifically against this lineup. So, yeah, I'm going to go Pirates. Money line, first 5. I'm also going to go over 7.5 here. I like the total a little bit because I would think that if the Mets win this game, it's because they come alive against Keller. That lineup hits to the way that we know they can be capable of, and they obviously tack on against a pretty rough, weak, bad Pittsburgh bullpen. So over 7.5 full game, Pittsburgh first 5 money line. 2 bets for me on this game.
Well, let's lock that in. And TJ Green completely on the look over. On the Pirates. He says Pirates first 5 and Pirates first 5 plus a half. If you do believe that the over's in play, that means you think that there's more volatility in this game, and that's why you stay off the first 5 plus a half. What do you make of Walker getting 10 strikeouts and going 7 strong at Miami last out?
I make that he's facing a bad lineup. That's what I take into account. I mean, it was a good start, a really good start, but how much do you want to give someone credit for shutting down the Marlins lineup right now? I mean, it's just, I'm not going to do it. And look, is Pittsburgh, a great offense? No, but you look at the Cincinnati series, you look at St. Louis before that. I mean, let's go back to the St. Louis series at home. They scored 8, 5, 3. They scored 16 runs in 3 games. That's not bad. Cincinnati on the road, 6-6. They had the one game they got shut down. They only scored 1, and then they scored 10 in the series finale against a pitcher that might be pretty good down the road in Lodolo for the Reds. But, the Pittsburgh lineup's starting to hit a little bit. I like what I'm seeing from the offense, so I think they can do some damage here.
Now, I've only had the balls to do this for the last few weeks, but clearly all the money's coming in on the over, and they're taking the juice away from that over. And TJ says, I don't see a ton of volatility, Jimmy. I don't either. But if you like the over, you do. I like the under. But I understand this Pirates bullpen is just not something that you want to trust. 5.45 ERA, 1.53 whip over the last 30. So for me, I would like the Pirates. Well, what would I get Pirates first 5 plus a half? Sometimes with these low totals, they can really take you to the woodshed.
Plus 125 to plus 120, plus 125 is what we're looking at for the plus a half.
So I'm comfortable with that.
Yep.
Of course, plus 110 for me. Fucking bullshit. Plus 120 for 35 earlier, says DJ. I'm comfortable with that. And I also, if we think
plus 127 at Pinnacle with that plus a half.
17
really
cents better at Pinnacle. It makes me want to smash something. First 5 plus a half. And then
Pinnacle's a beautiful thing.
First 5 plus a half, and the first 5 under. Let's just see what they're giving that first 5 under at. See, this is where these things really mess with me. Whenever that first 5 under is at a 7.5, or the full game's at 7.5, and the first 5 under is at a 4, and it's juiced to the over, I feel like they go over. And look at Dan Kelly just got on Pittsburgh first 5 minus 2.5 at plus 880. All right, we'll get back, Abel A. We watch you cash nonstop, so. Okay, I've got to spend more time with this, but I'm a little. Why would they be? It's just so confusing to me that you take the VIG away from the full game, but you add it to the first 4 or first 5. Excuse me. It's just that shit's throwing me for a loop. I guess I should not double up here, and maybe first 5 plus a half is the best bet for me on the board, and just leave it at that. And that's what I think I'm going to do. Okay, Bobano's on the Pirates first 5 plus 195 and the over 7.5 minus 102, and I plan to just move on the first 5 plus a half on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Okay, let's keep rolling. Next up, 7:10 p.m. Texas Rangers 62-81, 32-40 on the road at the Rays, 80-63, 47-24 at home, Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. We already spoke that this is the one spot on the board, one of the 3 spots on the board that have full line value. According to Sports Insights, full line value on a team. My man Robert Cherry saying, can we trust no score in the first? Can Walker make it through the first half of the lineup before getting touched? Yeah, I mean, Walker's the one that you have to worry about. So I would take a real close look at the batter versus pitcher matchups of those first few batters and get an idea of what the lineup's going to be like and go from there. But the total is very confusing. Trying to study the market. So I guess when it's really confusing, it makes me just want to stay away personally. All right. Martin Perez versus Corey Kluber. Okay. So we talked about the Kansas City Royals pitcher, Jonathan Heasley, with his second getting lit up in his last start, but it was his second straight start against an opposition. And we have that similar thing happening here with Corey Kluber. Second straight start versus the Yankees, and it was at New York, and he got just lit up and smoked. 2 1/3 is all he made it through. 8 hits, 6 earned runs, and no homers. Just nonstop hits, no walks, no strikeouts. And he had just faced them at home, and he'd gone 7 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 4 Ks, no walks. At home, he's been better than he's been on the road all year. You also have a very light pitch count from that last start. You have to think this is a good bounce back spot for the Tampa Bay Rays, although we're dealing with full line movement for the Rangers. Martin Perez, 11-6, 2.77 ERA, 1.23 whip, coming off 4-1 win at home versus the Jays. He looked great. 6 innings, 1 earned run, 7 Ks and 2 walks. He's been great on the road this year. That's no problem. Now he gets into a pitcher's ballpark. The issue is the Rays, of course, have started raking against lefties. And we were waiting for this all year, and it's finally happened. 287 average, 781 OPS, while the Rangers versus righties last 30 are just 237, 700. So now you have a Rays team raking lefties. All right, and both bullpens have been good. The Rays more than the Rangers. So let's go over to the line history and see what we are dealing with here after that breakdown. From a money line perspective, there's been a huge move to the Rays. 21-cent move to the Rays. Huge. And this total's gone from 7.5 down to 7. So let's see if the cash correlates with all of that. We have full line value, as I said, 26% of tickets, and 84% of the cash is on the Texas Rangers. So why would there be such a big move to the Rays? 52% of tickets and 94% cash on the under. So markets really think there's going to be a low-scoring game. This is confusing. Take it away here for us, Rangers, Rays, Bobano.
This is tough because Tampa Bay is hitting better, especially against lefties. Perez has got 11. They're 11-3 with Perez on the mound on the road. Texas. I mean, that is not getting a plus price. That's not something I'm betting against. With that kind of track record for Perez on the road, 11-3. He's actually pitched very well on the road. But I don't know if you're getting the best price though to take Texas because Tampa Bay is certainly the much better team. And you're only laying $1.45, $1.50. I don't love the idea of backing Kluber either. I'm not a big Kluber fan, and You look at the last start against the Yankees, he got bombed, 6 runs, didn't even get out of the first inning. He'd been pitched pretty good before that, though, in 4 starts. 2 runs to the Yanks, 1 run to the Angels, 3 runs to Boston. He shut out the Yankees in Tampa right before that. Home ERA this year, 3.74. It's not bad. And the Rays are 10-3 with him at home, to counter that 11-3 mark for Texas with Martin Perez pitching on the road. So, yeah, this is going to be a stay away for me.
Bet 365 still hanging the 7.5. Nasty Nate about to get on the train to Beantown to hang out with Jose at Fenway. Anybody in the Boston area, go hang with our guys at Fenway tonight. I can't wait to see some clips from it. Mike M says Tampa Bay 11-0 is home faves. Texas 0-7 on the run line versus the East on the road. Great Tampa Bay spot.
Yep.
Huge sharp bets coming in on the Rangers in this one. I'm surprised I'm getting a 7.5. I'm surprised I'm getting a 7.5. I can trust both of these bullpens enough. I would think that everything would be at 7s. I think this is a full game under. I do. I think Perez can keep him tight here, and then I think Kluber has a nice bounce back start against a team that's not really hitting. That's my plan. Bobano, you staying off this?
I am staying off. I lean Texas, though, but I'm going to stay off.
And Ron Crawford is on Fulham-Nottingham over today, by the way. Fulham-Nottingham over. All right, let's keep rolling. We move on to Philadelphia Phillies, 80-63, 36-32 on the road at the Atlanta Braves, 88-55, 47-25 at home. We're at Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's see what the weather is in the ATL. 80 Fahrenheit, 6.2 miles per hour, left to right, but in. Dies down to 4.6. So the wind blowing in Atlanta. Let's move over to the line history in the ATL. Here we have these Braves opening up at -170, now -179. 9-cent move towards them. Then this total opened up at 8, and this dropped to 7.5. It only lasted at 8 for 2.5 hours before it went to 7.5. Let's see if the cash correlates with all of that. We have a half 50% line value on Ranger Suarez and the Phillies, but just 12% of the tickets and 18% of the cash on them. Then 30% of the tickets and 39% of the cash on the under. So the public is on the over, yet it's dropped to 7.5. God, I don't want to keep doing this, but wow, it makes me want to go under this. All right, let's see. Suarez, last start, 8-5 loss at home versus the Nationals. He's been bad at home this year, which is the opposite of last year. On the road, he's been much better. 2.76 ERA, 225 points batting average, and a 6-1 record. Then Max Fried's just good everywhere. Coming off a 3-1 loss at the Mariners, but he went 6 innings, allowed 2 earned runs, solo shots. 7-4, 2.42 ERA, 240 opponents batting average at home. The problem is both these teams destroy lefties. This should be enough to keep me off of it. They destroy lefties. Phillies versus lefties, 283, 774 OPS. Braves versus lefties, 283, 814 OPS. Phillies bullpen being so bad. And TJ says, are you 100% sure those numbers are not after the total move to 7 for the game we just spoke of? Or you must be talking about that one, the Perez Kluber spot. With 51% tickets, 94% cash on the under. After the total move to 7.5. Okay, I feel you. Well, I'm still getting a 7.5. Oh no, this spot. Okay, sorry, my bad. You're right. This in good point. 70% tickets, 61% cash. Once it moves to 7.5, that's important. That's a very important note. And thank you for saying that, because just thinking that the books are sweetening the pot for people to bet on a certain side when the total is moved is probably not thinking it through enough. I was saying Phillies bullpen's been very bad. Braves bullpen has been good. Take it away for us, Bobano. Phillies, Braves.
Yeah, I'm going to double up here with this one. Atlanta -0.5, first 5 in this one, which is -122 at Pinnacle. That's the best line I see with that. -0.5, -122 Atlanta. And I'm going to go with Atlanta -1 full game, -131. So there you go. Atlanta first 5 -0.5, Atlanta full game -1. is what we're going to go with here in this one. I like both. And I'm a little bit more cautious with the full game run lines these days because I find a lot of the teams, especially the favorites, look at the Twins last night, saved me a push instead of a loss. Going with Minnesota -1 last night against Kansas City instead of -1.5. I find a lot of these favorites, a lot of times more than earlier in the year, they're winning by exactly 1 run. So I'd rather have the security of the -1 when it comes to the full game. But I'm a Max Fried guy. I'm always looking to back him in some form. He's been spectacular. I mean, what else can you say about Max Fried? 2.5 ERA overall. How about his last 7 starts? He hasn't given up more than 2 runs since July 25th. 1.84 ERA since that time over his last 7 starts. He's been terrific. And I can't say the same about Ranger Suarez lately. He's been struggling a bit. 5.4 ERA in his last 4 starts. He's not exactly pitched as well. Atlanta crushes lefties. Now, Philly's done a good job against lefties too, but I think Fried can keep them in check. There's been other times when teams hit well against lefties, and Fried has gone in there and still pitched very well. So I like Atlanta here. Bounce back. I don't think they love the way they played. They shouldn't against San Francisco. They ended up losing 2 of those 3 games. Same with Seattle. They lost 2 of 3. So, they are, 1-4 their last 5 games. They're not playing their best, but now they're back home. Day off. Philly had to play in Miami yesterday. Great spot for Atlanta. First 5 full game split, Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, I see why you're backing the Braves here and Max Fried.
The key is keep Bryce Harper off the friggin' board, and you got a good chance to beat Philadelphia right now.
Suarez gets touched by Acuna, 375. Arcia at 500. Matt Olson, 333. Riley Austin, 286. And then Fried gets touched by Harper and Real Muto. Boom. Wow, I'm surprised that this dropped to 7.5. I'm going to need more time with it. Let's just take a look at Suarez a little closer. TJ talking about how he's looked since he's come off of the IL. Let's just take a closer look here because I can trust Max Fried enough, even against a good lineup. But here, those last 5 starts, he just
not great.
No, he had a nice start versus Cincinnati. Faces them again and gets touched. Gets touched at Arizona, touched at San Francisco. Makes me think that Atlanta is the play here. I'm certainly leaning towards the Braves, but I think I'm not going to take them first 5 and only focus on the full game because I want to attack the Phillies bullpen as much as possible. So I'm looking at the Braves -1 myself in this spot. All right, we talked.
You can get a plus price around plus 145, plus 150 on Max Fried to get the victory tonight, which is actually great value in my opinion. Really good.
Yeah, I like Fried. I like the spot. All right, I'm comfortable there. And Rand saying Fried has shut down the Phillies. And Mike M says Atlanta smash spot. Yes, run first inning, first half, full game -1.5, 2.5. And he's a Phillies fan. I like it. All right, we move on. And our spreadsheet play today is hot. Very, very, very hot spreadsheet play of the day. And let's get over and give our love to Ron Crawford. 4 straight winners of the spreadsheet play of the day from our man Ron. Let's rock. Yankees, Brewers, American Family Field in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I already spoke about this being a full line value spot for the New York Yankees. 6,481 tickets in. Full line value spot for the Milwaukee Brewers. 34% of the tickets are on the Brewers and 91% of the cash. Now, we're only talking about 6,481 tickets, but huge, sharp bets are coming in on the Brewers, which has to be a Frankie Montas fade. 84% of the tickets are on the over, just 61% of the cash. So there's sharp money on the Brewers, a ton of it, and there's some sharp money on the under. So let's take a look at what that line history is, and let's take a look at if Milwaukee will open the roof. They will. Won't matter much. 6.7 miles per hour in, down 6.4. Then we'll take a look at the line history in this Brewers-Yankees spot. Montas, Hauser. We have the Yankees opening up at -124. They're now -113. So that's an 11-cent move to the Brew Crew. From a total standpoint, it opened up at 8.5 and is now at 8. So the markets have moved towards where the sharp money is. A Montas coming off a 4-2 loss at home versus the Rays. He allowed all 4 runs, 5 2/3, 9 hits. He just has not looked good in a New York Yankee uniform. Adrian Hauser coming off a great start at home. There was once upon a time when Hauser was completely bet on at home. Anytime he was at home, I would bet him, and I made a lot of money off of him. I stopped doing that this year because I learned early that he was not the same pitcher, but maybe he's becoming one. His numbers now at home, 3-4, 3.21 ERA, 2.23 opponent's batting average. You think about these two teams, and you'd be surprised that the Brewers are hitting righties over the last 30 much harder than the Yankees. 721 OPS compared to a 686 OPS. Yankees bullpen still is at 2.81 ERA, 1.19 WHIP, but why wouldn't I take the Brewers first 5 here? Take it away, Bobano. Can't wait to hear your breakdown. Yankees, Brewers.
Yeah, I'm going to go with this. Shit, did it move up? It did. I'm going to still take it. Over 8. I like runs in this game. I don't trust Montas shut down the Brewers. I think the Yankees can do. I'm not a big Adrian Hauser fan. I've said that multiple times. And when he faces good lineups, I don't find he pitches well. I know he's had a couple of starts here and there. He's been a little bit better, but the Yankee lineup, you see what they did against Boston, 12 runs in the 2 games. They scored 10 back-to-back against Tampa Bay. That offense is alive again in the 4-game win streak. About, 32 runs in the last 4 games combined for the Yankees. Prior to getting shut down by Adam Wainwright, which is no shame in that the other day, Milwaukee had scored 5, 7, and 8 runs, and they beat up a really good pitcher in Montgomery, the former Yankee, the beginning in that St. Louis series. So they've started to hit a little bit as well. I just don't know if 7.5 and 8 is a total we should be seeing with these two pitchers right now. I mean, Montas, 4.32 ERA his last 3 starts, 5.2 ERA on the road. We know he's had his tough times since joining the Yankees, got roughed up by the Rays in his last start. Hauser's got good home numbers, but last 3, 4.73. And to be quite honest, I mean, Cincinnati, Colorado doesn't always hit consistently, Pittsburgh, the games where he's been hit, Toronto, Dodgers, the best lineups, the best teams in baseball. Mets hit him hard. They've done damage against Hauser. Yankees should as well, over the total for me.
Did you see a 7.5 earlier?
It was earlier, and I bet it, but I was hoping it would still be around. And I have 7.5 personally bet, but because I bet it earlier, but I was hoping 7.5 for the show would still be there.
What book did you get? I can't find it anywhere.
Take a wild guess. The book I've been pumping the tire, Pinnacle, of course.
Wow.
It's 7.5 there. It was -120, -122 it was, I believe.
Oh, you went and you got it from the...
No, not the drop down. It was actually over 7.5, -120, 22. Yep. Briefly, and then it went up to 8. Yep.
Wow, because this has the opener at 8.5 at -111, and it's never had... Oh, there was a time there at 9 p.m. when there was -108. And maybe at 12:30 there was a little bit of vig on the under 8.5, but
yeah.
Wow. Okay. Nice find. I don't have that here on my line.
It's 8 right now, but I still like it at 8. I mean, half a run is not a big deal.
8 at -102. Let's just see what it would be if we bought it down to 7.5 now. Just at least give you that option to get what you bought it at. Just go over to Pinnacle and here we go, Yankees Brewers, and then we'll go to the total. If you wanted it at 7.5, -120. Yeah. Would you prefer that?
Prefer which?
Over 7.5 at -120?
Yes, absolutely. We'll take that. Yep.
Okay, over 7.
Fantastic.
And a half at -120. Available right now at Pinnacle. I'm going to trust the sharps on this. I'm going to I'm going to trust what I've seen from Adrian Hauser of late. And I love the consecutive home starts. I love everything about the Hauser spot. And, it's going to be just jammed at American Family Field. So I'm going to take the Brewers first 5 here and add that to my card. Okay, we move on. 8:10 p.m. Eastern next up. And Justin Verlander back after the calf injury. We have not seen him in a while, not too long. We thought it was going to be a longer stint. In fact, the fact that it's such a short stint makes me think that he's going to be on a really low pitch count. He was 3 innings into a 3-1 win at home versus the Orioles when he left with the calf injury. He has been the Cy Young winner in the American League. 1.84 ERA, 0.86 WHIP at home of 8-1, 1.90 ERA, 220 opponents batting average. Going up against Mexicali, Mexico's Adrian Martinez, who, he looked good when he first came up, and that's gone away. He got absolutely annihilated in his last start at home versus the White Sox. 3 2/3, 14 hits, 7 earned runs, 5.59 ERA, 1.53 WHIP. He's been better on the road than he's been at home, but it's not an easy place to hit. Although the Astros aren't smashing righties last 32, 44, 7-15. And the A's versus righties 224, 649. And the Astros bullpen is 3.29 runs better per 9 innings than the A's bullpen. Unbelievable. So let's take a look at the line history here in Houston. We have the Astros opening up at minus 340. They're now minus 338. So a 2-cent move to the A's and a 6-cent move to the under. So maybe, I guess the market's saying there's a possibility that a nice start comes from Adrian Martinez. This is what we're talking about for the cash. 6,014 tickets in. 78% of the tickets, 78% of the cash on the Astros, 61% tickets on the over. We don't have a cash count. By the way, Top Set says I have Atlanta as my top play today as well. Took first 5, and I want to see how I take them full game. I love that. And Ronnie and Bergia says, Razor, you on the Brewers. Did we see that? Did I miss that Razor was on the Brewers? Let me know if I missed that. Take it away here for us, Bobano. A's, Astros.
This one, very interesting here. Martinez and Verlander. It's just an insane price to be taking Houston. You can't really do much with that. Oakland's not exactly what I consider a live underdog necessarily here. They lost 5-2. Last night. It's amazing what we've seen, obviously, from Verlander. 1.84 ERA, 1.9 at home, 9-3, 18-6 they are in his starts. I'm not a big Martinez guy. This could be one of those games where maybe you do a dual team total because, I could see Houston going over 4.5. I could see Oakland staying under 2.5, or because I think those might be better options rather than the run line, which is just, you'd have to go to a minus 2.5. on Houston if you're going to get involved here. I guess I'd lean that way, but the value's just not there. I mean, if you can't go against Verlander with this putrid Oakland lineup, but it's hard to find value. I'm going to pass.
Yeah, I agree. Hard to find value. I guess I missed the gambler's first glance. I'm going way back to see if I can find it, but I don't believe I can. And not in the last 200 comments. Just a minute ago, 6 comments ago. Oh, there it is. Sorry, my bad. Razor Sharp Picks. Gambler's first glance is on the Brewers money line full game. I'm going to be going first 5, but Gambler's first glance. We are going to stay off Astros, A's, but Gambler's first glance is in, and it's the Brew Crew plus money. He swept the board with his Gambler's first glance spots yesterday. What does Razor have in store today? Gambler's first glance in business. All right, we pass the Houston. Big Goose is always a sweat versus the A's. Yeah, just like we thought, but then, of course, they still catch the run line when it comes down to it. All right, we just have a few games left. Let's move to 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Cincinnati Reds, St. Louis Cardinals. Have they announced that Reiver Sanmartin will be the pitcher for the Reds? Has that been announced? I think it has. Is it on the books? That would be the telltale if it's on the books. And it's not yet listed on the books, but we're expecting the lefty Reiver Sanmartin. He's been pitching out of the bullpen for a while now, so this will be a bullpen day. His last appearance, he went 2 1/3 at home to the Pirates. It was a 1-0 loss, and he was great. 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, 2 1/3, didn't allow a hit. Going up against Jack Flaherty, so this will be Jack's 3rd start since being shut down on June 26th due to a setback with his right shoulder that bothered him all offseason. Reds versus righties, 233, 694 OPS. Look what the Cards are doing to lefties, but let's not take it too much into consideration because if you're the Reds, you're not going to leave Sanmartin in there for too long, and then you're going to have a bunch of righties most likely. If you know that the Cards are hitting 260, 902 OPS versus lefties. Reds bullpen 3.65 ERA, 1.36 WHIP. Cards bullpen 3.91 ERA, 1.32 WHIP over the last 30. Let's take a look at the weather, 81 Fahrenheit, 6.5 miles per hour, right to left across the diamond. Then we'll take a look at the line history in this Reds Cards spot. We have the Cardinals opening up at minus 260, now minus 262, so no real movement there. This total juice to the under at 8.5 minus 110 is now minus 114, so a slight move towards the under. Let's see where this is cash-wise. We have just 756 tickets in, so let's not bother. But I'll tell you that the early action is on the over, and of course, the tickets are on the cards. Take it away for us, Bobano. Reds, Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, what are we going to see a better version of Reaver San Martin? I mean, we're talking about 13.7 ERA in the majors before he was sent down. And then you look at what he's done in Louisville, AAA, and he's got a 7.36 ERA since he's been down there. I mean, that's about as bad a couple of stats as you could ask for. Horrible major league ERA, gets sent down, and he's got a 7+ ERA down there in Louisville. Recently been a little bit better, I guess. If you look at the shorter term down there, he gave up 3 earned runs, 15 strikeouts the last 10.1 innings there in Louisville, his last 4. So he's been better, but all of that again in the minors, and before that he had been struggling there. So yeah, there's nothing that's going to want me to get in back Cincinnati here. Flaherty on the mound for the Cardinals. Command and control have been a little bit of an issue for him at times. His numbers aren't great necessarily, 4.5 ERA to this point. So, he hasn't found his release point. That's what I've noticed with him since he's been back from the IL, and he's still searching, for that right mix, that right formula. We'll see if he can correct that here, because like I said, the walks have been the drawback in a lot of these starts since he's returned from the IL here in the month of September. 4 runs, 10 hits. Again, not bad, but again, when you're walking 5 batters, it's a little bit of an issue here. So he does have a good track record for the most part against the Reds. He's dominated them outside of one bad start he had on April 1st last year. So the total's been hammered up here in this game, up to 8.5. Although it was 8 up to 8.5. Maybe the pitching change probably has something to do with that, but it's still gone up a half run from the 8. I'd lean that way. I think there's a chance you might see some runs here. I don't know if I'll make it official, but over 8.5, I have some interest in that.
Yeah, I don't know what Flaherty's going to do, and the Reds bullpen's been pretty good. The Cardinals bullpen is starting to improve. This is not an appealing situation for me in Reds Cardinals. Let's move on to 9:38 p.m. Eastern. We have Mariners Angels, Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California. Robbie Ray going up against Michael Lorenzen. We'll start with the weather in Anaheim, 76 Fahrenheit, 8.2 miles per hour out to right center, dropping down to 5.4 miles per hour. Take a look at the line history in this one. Move over here to the American League. Here we go. The Mariners open up minus 150. They're now minus 157. We've already heard JPZ all over the Mariners in this spot. 7-cent move towards them, and this opened up at 8. It jumped up to 8.5 a couple times, but still sitting at 8 right now at Pinnacle. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this one. Mariners, Angels. We have 5,901 tickets in. 89% of the tickets and 97% of the cash is on the Mariners. So the Mariners, and it's crazy, the Mariners and the Giants at this point. Now, we're talking early amount of tickets, but the Mariners and the Giants have 97% of the cash on them. So huge bets obviously have come on both of those teams. 25% of the tickets on the under and 60% of cash on the under. Robbie Ray coming off a bad start at home versus the Braves. Braves are a tough team. They smash lefties. 5 innings, 4 earned runs, 6 Ks, 0 walks. He seems to shut down the teams that don't hit lefties hard. And the Angels, 225, 722 OPS over the last 30. They're starting to hit lefties a little harder. Ray's been bad on the road all year. 4.79 ERA, 263 opponent's batting average. When my eye test with Michael Lorenzen is this guy's got good stuff, but he never seems to be able to put it all together. But he's been great at home this year. 4-2, 2.79 ERA, 199 opponent's batting average. Last out was at the Astros, and he looked great. 5 2/3, 1 earned run. It was a solo shot. It made me nervous that all the money is on the Mariners and that JPZ was so confident in the Mariners. It made me nervous. Mike M is on the -1 here. Getting wild with Terry and friends on the Robbie Ray over 6.5 strikeouts at even money. There's Dutch Boy Fresh in the house. Great to see you, Dutch. Love your Thursday live bet stream show. So much fun to hang with you. And the Mariners bullpen is much, much better than the Angels bullpen. TJ says, I cannot believe I'm seeing Rays Ks over 6.5 at even money. He struck out 10 in each matchup for the Angels this year, who lead the league in Ks per game. Take it away here for us, Bobano. Mariners, Angels, 2 games left on the card.
Yeah, that reminds me of that old kids show, Blues Clues. Yeah, Rays K's. There you go. Good ring to it. Yeah, just over 6.5 seems a little light there. I mean, I feel like Seattle should win this game. I'm not a fan of Lorenzen. I'm not. He was good against Houston last start. Let's give him some credit for that. But they also faced Houston before that, and he gave up 8 runs. So, and then he shut down. Actually, I shouldn't say he shut down Seattle. 2 runs, 4 hits, 3 innings. He labored the last time he faced them, and then when he faced them earlier in June, the week before, he gave up 7 runs. So this should be a game that Ray outpitches Lorenzen. Seattle wins this game. I don't know if I love the price though. To get involved with it. Ray, though, after a rough start against Atlanta, 4 runs, 8 hits, but they crush lefties. Lately, they've been doing that, the Braves. So don't want to give Ray too much grief for having a bit of a rough start there. Lorenzen's home ERA is actually not bad, 2.79, 4-3 they are in his 7 home starts. And with Ray on the mound on the road, his numbers have skyrocketed up a little bit, which is concerning. 4.79 road ERA, they're 7-5. With Robbie Ray on the mound on the road. So, and the fact is, wouldn't people want to be back in Seattle here? And yet there's been no movement whatsoever in this line at all. It's basically stayed where it is. So it's probably going to keep me off.
Yeah, it makes me very nervous for the Mariners cash. No doubt about it. In fact, I think that Ray had a couple, he completely shut down the Guardians in back-to-back starts. He had allowed 6 earned runs in his last 6 starts before he got touched by the Braves. So, for him to come out and have a good start is, I would almost say, expected.
Yep.
And I love Lorenzen at home. And we see
Sounds
sharp
like you're talking yourself into under, or first 5 under. Yep.
Yeah, just the first 5 under, because I don't trust the Angels bullpen. But yeah, I think a first 5 under makes sense to me. I'd just like to see what I would get it at here. And I would get it at, sorry, can you maybe hang at 4.5?
4.5.
Oh,
yeah, 4.5.
I love it. I'm on it. I'm on this.
Giddy up. There you go.
Let's go back to weather once more. Sorry. It is pretty offensive. But that it dies down. Let's refresh it. 8.2 down to 5.4. Let's refresh this and see what it is. I want to see this again. That is too offensive probably for me to bet. Yeah, it doesn't change at all. You know what? I think we know what it's like in that stadium. It's just too.
Sunset's getting earlier too. Let's keep that in mind. 6:30 start there, but it's already going to be starting to get dark.
Jonathan Yim, I have not given out my Survivor pick, but I am using the Rams. I am using the Rams in Survivor, so that's the most picked spot on the board. So it's pretty simple for me, and I've only. I've still got work to do on the Cappers contest. Remember, get your picks in by Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern, because we want to be able to talk about it Sunday, and we apologize for changing that up. But yeah, I'm on the Rams for the Survivor. I think the weather's just too offensive for me. I know what it's like there in this time of year, and just too easy for Lorenzen to get touched, but I certainly would lean to the under. All right, let's move on. 2 games left here. We have Rocco Rogers, Big Rock play today, coming up with the final game. But let's talk Padres, Diamondbacks, Blake Snell, and Madison Bumgarner, 2 old friends of ours at going head-to-head here on the bump. You have the roof closed. Blake Snell going against Mad Bum. Let's take a look at the line history here. We have the Padres opening up on -169 and now -179. 10-cent move towards them. And this total was heavily juiced to the over, and now it's heavily juiced to the under. So a big move towards the under and a slight move towards Blake Snell. Let's see if the cash follows suit to all of that. 3,934 tickets in. 34% of the tickets and 54% of the cash on Madison Bumgarner. So it doesn't. 69% of tickets, 71% cash on the under. So that does. Snell coming off an 8-4 loss at home versus Dodgers. 4 innings, 5 earned runs. He's been good on the road this year, better than he's been at home. 3.38 ERA, 204 points batting average. Mad Bum, I don't know what you're going to get from him. 4.88 ERA, 1.48 whip. I guess you think, well, it matters if the team can hit lefties. And the only thing the Padres are doing well lately is hitting lefties. Last 30 days, 267 with a 796 OPS. Mike M says, love the Arizona first 5 under 4.5 and the Arizona first 5 plus a half. Huh. Wow. So the Diamondbacks just don't hit lefties at all. 212, 602 OPS. And the Diamondbacks bullpen, 6.72 ERA, 1.57 whip over the last 30. Atrocious. Take it away, Bobano. Padres, Diamondbacks.
Pass. I mean, I'm not laying this price with San Diego right now. I mean, and Snell's been obviously better than Bumgarner, but they're not playing consistently. I mean, Arizona beat them twice out of 3 at Petco just a little over a week ago. Dropped 2 of 3 to the Dodgers. They won the makeup game against Seattle, and then they lost 4-0 the series opener to Arizona last night. Couldn't hit anything. This Padres team off Dre Jameson for the Diamondbacks. So I can't lay this price with Arizona, but Bumgarner's the one pitcher right now for Arizona I'm not in a rush to back. He's had a terrible track record against the Padres, 0-6 with a 6.17 ERA against the Padres. This season alone, just a 5.29 ERA against them, lost most of his starts. So I can't back that track record of Bumgarner. So it's a pretty easy stay away for me.
I feel like I must bet the Padres. Must bet the Padres. I mean, look at these last few starts for Mad Bum.
Yep.
He's had one start over his last 7, 8. One start over his last 8 where he's allowed 2 runs or less, where he's allowed 3 runs or less.
Yep.
Once.
Yep. No, I hear you. It's just, I don't like the way the Padres lineup's hitting right now, to be quite honest. I don't like it at all. And Snell, and say what you will about Snell, I agree with you totally that he's the better form pitcher right now, but has that mattered? Because I think the Padres have lost most of his starts. Yeah, 1-4 in his Padres and Snell's last 5 starts. So can't lay the price. But I would agree. I'd prefer San Diego if I had to. But
the only thing that's not correlating here, the only thing is the fact that there are some bigger bets coming in on Arizona. But I think that could be cappers or syndicates or whatever that are taking putting too much credit into, or I shouldn't say too much credit because I don't know the outcome of this game, but they're putting too much emphasis into how the Padres have been playing lately, which is fair if you want to do that. But here I see a huge advantage against lefties for the Padres, a huge advantage in the bullpen for the Padres, a huge advantage in starting pitching for the Padres. So who cares what happened yesterday? And who cares what's been happening? Is the way I see it. And that's the way I'm going to bet it. I'm going to double up on the Padres first 5 in full game. There's just too many advantages. So, look, I don't care what the Padres are doing right now. They have an advantage in every single important facet of this game. And I'm going to double up on the first 5 minus half, full game -1. All right, let's move on to the final game on the board. And we have Rocco Rogers, Big Rock play of the day. Dustin May over 4.5 Ks at -143. These Dodgers 2 games away from hitting the century mark in wins, 98-44, 49-26 on the road. And the Giants creeping to the slowly going to the finish line. And we love it because we're going to catch the season win total under. Oracle Park in San Francisco, California. Let's go to the weather here. And we have 57 Fahrenheit, 11.6 miles per hour out, dies down to 10.7. Move over to the line history in this one. May versus Webb. I already told you guys, I already gave you a hint that there's huge money bet on Logan Webb here. And there's been a 2-cent move to the Giants. And this total has moved 12 cents to the under. And then we look here, and there's just all this money. I wish I saw like a 10 or 15 cent move towards the Giants. 31% of the tickets and 97% of the cash. And then 46% of tickets, 99% of cash on the under. It tells me that Dustin May is going to be able to control these weak Giant bats, 214, 635 OPS versus righties. And Logan Webb's going to have a good start against these tough Dodger bats. 249, 782 OPS. Dustin May did not look great in his last start. 3 earned runs in 5 innings, 3 Ks, 3 walks. And Logan Webb looked good at the Cubs in his last start. 7 innings, 2 earned runs, and a 5-2 win. That was when he went up against Stroman. Dodgers bullpen, Giants bullpen, both been pitching well. Dodgers bullpen been pitching very well. So take it away for us. Final game on the board, Bobano, Dodgers, Giants.
They might be a live home dog here, San Francisco. I just got that sneaking suspicion. Like, they're 0-3 in May's last 3 starts. They haven't been winning with him on the mound. And it's not that he always has pitched poorly, but for various reasons, they've, lack of run support, bullpen issues. May's been kind of inconsistent, that they haven't been winning with him on the mound. And, you wonder at some point, like, Dodgers are 98-44. They're obviously cruising the rest of the season. How much they're going to be one of those teams. There's going to be spots to fade the Dodgers here last couple of weeks. I think that, and we saw signs of that last game. They lost to Arizona, although Kimbrel blew that game. It'd be Giants or pass for me. I don't know if I'll bet it, but I like the way Webb's pitched lately. I mean, much better. His last 3 starts have been real good for San Francisco. 1.93 ERA, 2-1, 10-5 are the Giants in his 15 home starts. He's given up just 6 runs in the last 18 innings against the Dodgers. He's faced them 3 times this year. He had 1 bad start, and it actually happened here in San Francisco, so that is concerning, but pitched twice against them at Dodger Stadium, gave up 1 run, 6 innings, July 22nd, and then 11 days ago, San Francisco wins that game with Webb on the mound. He only gives up 2 earned runs in 6 innings against the Dodgers, so I'm definitely leaning home dog San Francisco here. I might put something in pocket. I don't know if I'll make it official, though.
Yeah, I think that Webb knows this is the last of a couple marquee spots for him before it's up. I feel like there's value here on the Giants' first 5. Now I can get the first 5 plus a half, which might come in handy here. I'll have to decide. I'm going to move on the Giants in the first 5 here. I have to look at this big money here that's being put on. The question is, should I wait? I should probably wait. We know the public's going to come in and get to the Dodgers at some point.
No.
You know what? I'm going to wait.
Wait it. Yeah.
I'm going to move on the God, sorry, I barely slept last night. Kids are sick. I'm going to move on the Giants. I'm going to wait. But I'm going to move on them first 5. I know that the Dodgers cash is going to come in. So if I can just be patient, I may get a better line. But I may not. As I say that, look how much money's on the Giants. I think I just move on them now, to be honest with you. Huh.
I'm actually going to put them on my card, actually, at full game. I'm just going to do full game. Because the Giants' bullpen's been a little bit better lately. It's not been great, but it's been a little bit better. Look, give them credit. They shut down the Braves a couple of those games, that bullpen. They preserved a 3-2 win in the first game of that series. They shut it down, that bullpen, after Rodon left the game on Wednesday after 5 innings. That bullpen shut down Atlanta. So I'm going to put some faith in that Giant bullpen. So I'll go full game with San Francisco.
All right, Giants full game for Bobano. Let's line shop for him as we put a bow on this show. I think there's too much money on the Giants right now that I should just move on them.
Plus 146 at Heritage looks to be the best price. Yep, full game for the Giants. Yep.
Giants full game plus 146 for Bobano. And there you have it. Woo-wee. Now, I can't wait to have my studio back. I can't wait, because usually we have these, 2.5 hour, 3 hour shows, Bobano, and I'm just in heaven, relaxed, in a comfortable chair. Can't do that right now, as I need the camera as close to me as possible because of the size of my green screen. It's a pain. Okay,
this is actually a shorter show for us than some of them have been.
Yeah. Let's review all action here. Ron Crawford, spreadsheet play today is in football on the Edmonton Elks, and he's going heads up with Rod Zawacki, and Bobano and I both stayed off of it. Then Bobano's on the over 46 in Winnipeg Hamilton. And while you're sitting there enjoying a brewski at Tim Hortons Field tomorrow, know that I'm backing your Tiger Cats first half and full game. Taking the points, but backing them first half and full game. I love the spot. Bobano is on the over 52 in line stamps. I'm off of that. Although God, you have to think that at some point they start delivering at home.
0-5, by the way. ATS is the Calgary Stampeders at home. That's shocking. They haven't covered a number yet at home.
I know. It makes me think that now is the time. Officer of 50, Ayashi, my man, Robert Cherry. Yes, I'll give you both the spreadsheet play today, and I'll give you the taint play today. But first, the say hey play today from our young Jose Bouquet, UTSA plus, what did I get him? Plus 12.5 and minus 108, and money line plus 375. I want everybody to watch that video badly, but and look at JP. He says this is the next best thing to a postseason for the Giants. I wouldn't bet the Dodgers, but I hope they smash. No, I like that breakdown. What was did you move? And then don't give us the breakdown. I want everybody to go to Pub Sports Radio to see the UTSA breakdown. But for me did you move on UTSA plus the points?
Oh, me? I do. I like the over, though, a little bit there, too, because I think they're going to be – I shouldn't say they will be able to run the ball, but if Bijan Robinson plays, I think that's going to help Texas's offense. Texas should be able to throw on UTSA because the secondary hasn't been good for the Roadrunners, but who's going to be at quarterback? We're still waiting to get that cleared up. But I think I'm leaning over. I haven't pulled the trigger on that yet, but I will be on UTSA. This is a huge game for them. I don't love that they're off 2 overtime games. From a spot perspective, that's dubious. Do they have enough left in the tank for this game? But at the same time, it's as bad or even a worse spot for Texas after they laid it all out there last week against Alabama only to lose. And I feel that, it's an even worse spot for them. It cancels out worse at least. And I actually think it could be worse for Texas trying to bounce back here. So, and UTSA's up for this game, and I don't mind catching doubles with them. Andrew
G also on UTSA. I'm going to join you guys. Not on the money line like Big Balls Bouquet, but then Ragu and Bobano on Florida State. Don play a bunch of unders. I'm on a bunch, so I'll read them off to you. Bobano's on Florida State minus 144, and Ragu's on Florida State minus 2.5. And I'm not on it. Bobano's on the Air Force minus 16.5. And I'm off that one as well at this point, which sucks. I don't like not having action on Friday night in college football. But I've hit 10 straight. And when you hit 10 straight, you get a little tighter. Then let's go into MLB. Bobano starts his card in 41 minutes on the Rockies, plus 119. We stayed off Marlins-Nats, but it was great seeing Bobano being so angry. I fucking love that. I think we should cut some of those clips out. Bobano is on the Orioles team total over 3.5. That's a beauty bet that I want involved in. I'm interested in the first 5 under 4 in Chicago, Detroit. Matty Ice is on the taint play of the day. White Sox first 5 minus 0.5. I'm going to move on the first 5 under 5 in Royals, Red Sox. And I know that people were not enthused by that breakdown. I'm on the under 7.5. I'm not on anything yet in MLB. These are all bets I'm going to make. I'm going to move on the under 7.5 in Twins Guardians. Bobano's on the Guardians at minus 130, and the Pimp Slap play today is on the Guardians. And he's on a 3-0 run after Wednesday's 2-0 day. I love it. Then Bobano's on the Pirates first 5 and the over 7.5. You got the Pirates at plus 195. I'm coming with them on the first 5, but I believe I'll take the first 5 plus 0.5. I'm moving on the under 7.5 in Texas, Tampa. Bobano's on the Braves minus 0.5. First 5 minus 0.5. And full game minus 1. And I'm going to come with him on the minus 1 with the Braves. I like it. Gambler's first glance is the Brewers money line. Spreadsheet play today is on the Yankees. So Gambler's first glance and spreadsheet going up against each other. Bobano's on the over 7.5. I'm moving on the Brewers first 5. Just the first 5. A's, Astros, we stayed away as we did in Reds, Cardinals, and Mariners, Angels, although I came very close to moving on the first 5 under 4.5 there. But I'm doubling up on the Padres first 5 in full game. We already heard Fat win is on the Padres team total over. Then I'm going to decide whether to wait or not. Bobano's on the Giants full game. I'm going to be on the Giants first 5 plus 0.5. There you have it. And Top Set says, I have been so busy. I haven't watched the NCAA show. When was it? What's the name? It's called Hitting the Books. And now it's on the very top of our playlist. The number 1 playlist on our homepage is the hitting the books and all the games that they break down. And then on Saturday, as soon as the 12 o'clock games go off, because they kept so many games, I go into the YouTube and I put those at the back of the line and get the newer games that are about to pop up. It's a hell of a show. It's a great show. What up, Foxy? Great to see you. Rem Mo says, if William Hill has over 8.5 minus 137 and it shows they don't want to move it to 9, does that mean they think it's going to go? Yes. That means they think it's going to go over and they want to juice people out of betting it. And that's something that I don't use Will Hill a lot, but that's something that Pinnacle does all the time. So yes, Remos, that means that they don't want action on it and they think it's going to go over. Bobano, absolutely great job. Follow our man Ian Cameron on Twitter. He's at Bobano. He's going to be live at the Ticats game on Saturday. I truly look forward to our Fridays together. Great job back capping this enormously big card. And we only have a little bit more of MLB and football because soon the puck drops and we have excitement on ice and we have NBA action. So it's going to be busy here on our Fridays. But thank you to everybody. Rem Most, Dom Play, Foxy, Brian Watson, Mark Tequila, Officer of 50, Ayashi Allah, North Ender, Top Set, Andrew G, Brian Watson, Jay Peasy, R2D2 Finland. What a great group. Abel A, Sammy, Rocco Rogers giving us the Big Rock play of the day. What a great group. TJ, Jonathan Yim, Eric Jones, Gregory Ruiz, Legan Canelo, Terry from Getting Wild with Terry and Friends, Mike Gam, Dutch Boy Fresh, all you guys, thank you so much for your support. Big Daddy Boom, Ronnie and Bergia, Big Ragu, Joe Free, you guys were great. Rants and Razor. Jose Bouquet, come back to us fast. I need a producer here. It's very difficult without you. Bobano, my man, can you put some final words on the show and then let's say us into the future?
Final words, because I saw 2 people asking about it. Yes, college football hitting the books with me, Connor Mack, Mondays, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you write that. If you want to watch it live, that's when it is. Mondays, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Early week looks at the college football card. We'll hit every weeknight game. And once we get later into the season and the MAC football, weekday football starts, we're going to have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday college football. We'll do every game weeknight that's taken place during the weeknights on the show, hitting the books, and also several games from Saturday's card, the marquee games mostly. And we handpick them. We don't go through every Saturday game, but a bunch of them. That's every Monday. Your first look at the college football card for the upcoming week. Mondays, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And then it's me, Connor Mack, Big Ragu, DJ Big Boss, every Saturday, including tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, 2 hours before kickoff with the Pub Hub show, college football. Every Saturday game, we'll go through it, our final opinions, our final bets, our finalized card. We've got it all ready to go by tomorrow morning. So we'll have that. It leads into the live betting. We've got UFC this weekend live streams. We've got college football live streams. We've got Jimmy the Bag doing Sunday night and Monday night football. And of course, before that, the NFL Pub Hub Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. So all I can say is you better have Pub Sports Radio subscribed and on your YouTube profile, because if you don't, something's wrong, because it's wall-to-wall content throughout the season. And wait till hockey and basketball starts.
I love
All right,
it.
so I'll keep going now. You're right, because you said sign off. Thanks to everybody. Hit the like button. Let's cash some tickets this weekend. It's been a great start in football, Jimmy, for him, for me. Let's keep it rolling. Let's have a big weekend. Leche and los Bookmakers.
T on your mark. Get set, go. And they're off. Jose, it's getting on your shirt. On your birthday.